to learn from everything a lesson in life, right? So I come back at night, and now I say, see, it's still there. The Neflino is still there. The Achatana is still there. The Neshama is still there. See, yeah, $1 bill. Put a bigger bill. Put a 5. That was my son. This was when I wanted to mispal them. I bragged it to one of the guys davening there. So I say, yeah, well, look at the, yeah. So it's hard. Yeah, look at the difference between a Yid and a Goy. I left money on the table, and nobody's taking it. Everybody's, it's not there. It's not touching it. So, anyways, another day goes by. Right, the 5 is there, and changes it out to there. Nobody's touching it. So I bragged about this on over Zoom to some people. $5 bill. Put a 20. I put a 20. Put a 20. By the 20, something else happened. 20, one of the guys realized the money's sitting half on the table. So there's like a stand on the table. So like he tucked it on. He didn't take it. He tucked it under the table, halfway seeing, halfway not seeing. But nobody touched it. Nobody touched it. So this is the point. Okay, there's another story about a big deal. What's the story? First of all, when I put the money down, I felt if somebody takes it, it's mochaloch. I didn't feel. See, only makes such a test if you're not going to be angry with the guy who takes it. But obviously, we're different. The point is, we are different. Even Arachmanim, Shonim, the Chasodim. Why are we different? We have the Neshama. This is who we are. This is what I want to bring tonight. Is who we are, and our skashis to the Rebbe, and what Gimel Tammuz means to us, and how we can live with it going further. Basis who we are. So Gimel Tammuz is a very confusing day. It starts out as in Tanakh, it's a day that Yeshua ben Nun stopped the sun. You're probably well aware of that. And the second thing is Gimel Tammuz is when the Rebbe Rayatz was freed from his death sentence. What? The Zoom is on this Norton Street. Come in, because I have a Zoom. Farbrengen, the Zoom. Okay. L'chaim, everybody.
Hi. No. Start the Zoom.
So and then you have a Gimel Tammuz, which is we're talking about a hell of a essence. I want to share with you a story. I got a personal story of what does it mean. Again, where do we see? There's certain times we express ourselves with an emotion, the Avas Hashem, Yirach Hashem. We express an emotion, closeness to Hashem. We feel the beauty of the Rebbe's teachings. That we feel the Rebbe is with us. And then sometimes it comes out with an essence, with the power of the essence. So I'll just tell you a personal experience. So personal experiences come out stronger than other experiences. So when I was in this place called prison, a very interesting thing happened there. It was a Sunday, and Sunday was a visiting day, so family came to visit, and I came back. And after 3:30 over there, they put me in a place. They wanted Rahman Hashem for 27 years. So Baruch Hashem, start off with the Heid Hashem Kedem Chazdei. They made a nest for me, and I was suddenly freed from this Chanukah. But they wanted another 18 years. I was there 8.5 years. They wanted 27 years. So because it's such a heavy sentence, they put me in a very, very secure place with walls around it, one fence and barbed wire, 2 fences. Because a lot of the people there were actually very, very violent people, murderers, mafia. What was I doing there? Yes, because I'm a very dangerous guy, but I don't think that the Rebbe wanted me there. And so over there, like almost half a day, they lock you into this little cell, and they count. They walk around. They want to count everybody. And they count everybody physically. They don't just have people check in fingerprint. It's interesting. It's another everything that mental foot-of-us teaches us. When he went to Siberia, one of the ways he was able to stay sane and was able to feel that Abishah was with him all the time is that he took the wisdom of Hashem from everything. Oh, everything you see and you hear, you take out a lesson in Avodas Hashem. So therefore, suddenly, I don't know what you need it for.
Yeah.
So what happens?
Give me your headphones.
Why you don't like the sound? The number is better.
We're losing the intimacy here.
Closer, maybe we'll speak loud.
So let's try this and see what happens. Anyways,
Without. Try without.
give us a little higher.
Time.
Then if I can
Feel the time.
Oh, nice.
So this is it. So what happens is they put you into this little cell and for 6 and they count you. And so what I do over there, the doctor with another guy. Other guys go to sleep. Sometimes you tired. I use the time and but I meet them on Sunday. I hear the guy is screaming. There's I don't know who it is till today. There's a prisoner who was screaming, shouting words. I wasn't too interested. I wasn't words of Taylor, so I wasn't really trying to listen to what he was saying. So I said to look, the guy I was with jumps off the bed and looks out the window, the small window, never seen the door, and he says, you know what's going on? I said, no. This guy, so listen, this guy seemingly, this prisoner, he seems like he got into a fight with an officer. Every building has an officer on patrol, and he wanted to get back at him, so you can't walk over to a guy and I say zidlamus. You can't go and say you're an idiot, whatever in their language. Not such a fine language, but they'll take the guy and they'll throw him into the south of the confinement to go to the shul. So he has a good answer. We have time. So they lock him in, and behind now everybody's locked into the doors. And everything there is because it's a cement building, so everything, the echo is there very, very strong. So he now he has a chance, he can curse the guy out. He'll hear it, the officer will hear it, and he'll never know from which door it's coming from. Because if you get pictures, five rows, one top of the other, of doors. There's doors a few feet apart. And it's bouncing off the echo. They happen to be from a different country, so he mentioned the guy's country and how fat he was, and how short he was, and how ugly he was. He made sure to describe him in a very not nice way. I never heard this before in my life. I mean, this is a chiddush. So I'm interested to see what's going to happen. And he got under the guy's nose. And suddenly you hear this guard. He screams back and says, "Listen, what you're doing? You're disrespecting me. And if you don't stop, I'm going to punish you." So like a kindergarten, he saw that he got the guy under his nerves. So he doubled down. So he starts screaming, I get a close, cursing him. And so the guard goes and he wants to get back. So how does he get back at him? There were TV screens all around the center. The center is a room, and the walls have. So they put screens around all these, and the people sitting in the center room can see a screen. You shouldn't miss on any angle another screen. And the prisoners, from looking out this window, they can see the screens even when they're locked in. Some of them. So, anyways, he unplugged. He knocked out the power. He just switch, and suddenly all the screens went black. I don't know why this worked, and the guy stopped screaming. I guess he saw him in business. Stop screaming. So I chapsich. He said this comes. They shut all the screens down. So I chapsich. Wow, this is a chance to see what this place looks like without screens, like walking into a room. And imagine what this place would look like if you took all these things, you put it down. Imagine the mini in a shul and there was no screens available. No Zoom, for example.
Let's try without it. They're saying that the audio.
Okay, without it.
Try without it.
Whatever is good. Okay. So I don't maybe it's better like this. Listen to this. So this is amazing. I always try to learn from everything new. So I have to look at this. It's the first time after so many years that I have a chance to see what the space looks like. Because at 4:30, open the doors and let everybody out, and they all congregate in the center room or on the alleyways or whatever, the porch, whatever balconies to look at the screens. No screen. Let me look how the guys look like the screen's working. So I go up at 4:30. I walked outside and I gave a look. I gave a look, and you can see all these guys walking around. They were mamish, and I never saw these guys. These tough guys. If you saw them, they walked down to the table. It's their table, it's their turf. They're really egotistical guys over there. And Mitamol everybody's lost like Chef Salah. They walk around the mamish. Some guys are watching. It's really funny. Some guys are pushing. I'm pushing on the buttons like absolutely laughing to go on. And the thing is that some guys are muttering, "Please go on." Like little babies. Like I never saw them. They were totally unwired. I couldn't imagine what do you do to these guys to get them unwired. They always walked around showing their thing. This I'm tough and that. Nothing about it. They're all answering sugar. So watching this, I remembered. I remembered learning something. This is the point I want to get to. I remember learning in the Tanya Shir. The Khan wanted to explain to us. A person has his etzem neshama, the essence of the neshama. A person has the giluyim, how the neshama expresses itself through seichel, through intelligence. He expresses himself through midas, through ava, love, fear, kindness, whatever, all the different midas. So he wanted to show us, how do you know when something really touches the essence? But when so he gave us this interesting motion. He said this: if you have two, maybe you heard it before, maybe you're oh, get up, it's master. Time. That's what I thought. The weiß nicht.
Social distancing.
That's what it is. Okay. Anyway, how am I? So it's like this: a rich man invites a poor man to his house, and the poor man walks into a very wealthy house, and he gets served. The rich man eats very, very fancy food. So he gets served very good food that the poor man never ate in his life, right? They're sitting there. So if you take a picture of what the poor man looks like, he sits down with the food like this, for example. Yeah, you start eating and it's tasty. And the Kalaina Hora, he doved over here prepared the take asuda, beef asuda. Yeah, Hamim, sorry. Yeah, Avi. And the poor guy never saw his. Yes,
Everybody's coming out of the cave.
That's how
Told me this morning.
Okay, the Chaim again. All the people on Zoom, but some people coming in from Farbrengen, and we have to show them to some side interruption.
Just train just arrived from Samarkand.
So here's the point. When the poor guy, when he's eating the food, he never eats good food in his life. You can see his expression. He's really into it. He's into the food. He's eating. He's filling up his face first, and then he can swallow. He's tasting it. He's making it with his mouth, with his cheeks. He's burping. He's slipping. Right? The rich guy, when he eats, you don't see anything. You don't see. He sits down. You see rich man eats.
Richmond?
Yeah.
Don't eat.
Okay, if you go, they sit there, they put a napkin on the shirt, they should get the shirt dirty, and then they take the right spoon, the right fork, and they eat, and they cut a piece and they eat it, and you don't see no expression on their face. So now, question is the question. And there's something. Question is, who's more into the food, or who is the food more? Who's more connected to the food, the poor guy or the rich guy, right? I remember, I figure it's a trick question. You can see it's the poor guy because he's really into the food. He's eating fast and right? He's showing a lot of excitement with the food. And the rich guy said, if it was the poor guy, it wouldn't be a question. So it's the rich guy, but we couldn't imagine how could it be a rich guy? The rich guy doesn't show anything. He's like sort of used to it. You'd say you think he's used to it, doesn't care about it. Yeah? Who's more connected to the food? Who would you say?
The rich guy.
The rich guy. Why? How can you prove it?
The poor guy eats with his stomach. The rich guy eats with his head.
Okay, now you're philosophizing. How do you prove it?
I was once in Philippines doing lecture, and I see a guy goes on his lunch break. He catches a fish, and that's sadoi.
Sushi.
I tell him, how'd you do that? He says, you You eat with your eyes, with your head. I eat with my stomach. That's it. I need to go back to work.
Anyways, he brought this marshal for a reason. He says, how do you see, if the rich guy is more connected to the food, how do you prove it? Take it away from him and take away the food from both guys and see who jumps up higher, who gets more affected by not having it. Not by having it. By not having it, how does the person react to not having it? The poor guy who never had it before, he's having it now, it's joyful, it tastes good, and he's showing a lot of excitement when he's eating. Yeah? So if you took it away, what's that part? He enjoyed it. He didn't have to see it. The rich guy, him and the food became one. He was trying to tell us, you want to eat something, but don't become one with your food. Don't become. This is a good lesson. That's not the reason we're talking about it now. When can you see if something is connected to your essence? Faket. That's when you don't show a sign. When it doesn't, b'shas ma'aseh, something really touches your essence, b'shas ma'aseh, you don't see some excitement. When do you see the excitement? That's when it gets taken away. When it gets taken away to the guy who's enjoying it, it's not dafka, he'll care if it was taken away. He enjoyed it. He was enjoying it, b'shas ma'aseh. It didn't touch him so much, it wasn't something connected with it. So that's why he doesn't jump up, he doesn't get so upset why he's missing it. On the other hand, the one who became one with the food, to him, when you take it away from him, because he became this action with it, he became one with it. So you take it away, you take away part of him. He can't live without it. And if he screams louder, the rich man can't take the fact that took from him away his for the food that he's used to. What's the point? We're talking about Gimmel Tammuz, right? Gimmel Tammuz is a day of hell. So one side, you'll say Gimmel Tammuz is a day of Gula. Shabbos Giving Day, Big Nissen happened in Gimmel Tammuz. By Yeshua, Big Nissen happened by the Rebbe Rayatz. He got freed. The Rebbe hit the Rebbe because the Rebbe Rayatz was freed, right? And the whole Hamshich of Farbrengen Chutzer happened from there. And Mitamol, and the Rebbe even said that Chedesh Tammuz got changed over to Chedesh Gula from Yibris Tammuz. So Mitamol comes a Maisa from Gimmel Tammuz that we were living through. That suddenly the Rebbe who we go in his way and we learn from him, and the Rebbe's man hold the brachas for us. And suddenly all the ashpors like Aaron, and suddenly he's taken away. And so here's a point: because the Rebbe touches us so much, when do we see the kasher with the Rebbe? Is after the matzah like this, after the matzah helen, after for a moment, and it's not Hashem, there's not taking anything away, but after the matzah where you don't see it. And then you say, I can't live without it. And then when the come to time we get together in Farbrengen, we try to share some words from the Rebbe wanted us to live and to realize that the Chatzadikim, even if we can't see them physically, spiritually, they're even stronger. And this is why we're here tonight. So forget, because we can't live without the Rebbe, because we are our cash with the Rebbe, not because when he was here, so we had a good time with it, right? And now we find something else. No, it doesn't work with that because we won. This cash with the Rebbe is in our exam. We don't have it, so we jump on. We can't live without it, and then we cry. We cry to the Eibishter at Masai. We want Mashiach now, and the Rebbe will make good his promise that there will be a Shvi and Mashiach will come, and we'll see it. And so this is the nekuda about sometimes, and this is nekuda of whole Pashas Keirach. Sometimes when there's an Esoyin, when you have a darkness. It's not Chashuv Shalom to say, when you have the whole Ma'aseh Keirach was a darkness, with the mothers of rebellion against Moshe Rabbeinu. In life, we have the Shenis. What's on the Soyin? The Soyin is a challenge when we don't see the Eibishter. Suddenly we don't see the goodness of the Eibishter. We have to know that this is not Chashuv Shalom the Eibishter left us. Fakir, the Eibishter wants us to bring a bigger light. He wants to see how deep we are connected with Hashem. With the Eibishter, with the Torah mitzvahs, how we can't live without the Eibishter. We can't live without Torah mitzvahs. Even in such a way, it's Megala. We would say that through in the Sayan, you're Megala deeper koyach. What does that mean in English? I mean, you hear these words being thrown around. What does it mean in English? We see it. That's been a time when you have a helen. That's been a time where something gets taken away from you, you can see how it's good. And suddenly you're able. Suddenly you're able to bring out by yourself this emunah in the Eibishter, the Mesiras Nefesh, with a strength that you never even knew existed. In fact, why? Because it touch your essence. It's going to touch your essence, and this is what Gimmel Tammuz is all about. Gimmel Tammuz is not just about Giluyim. Gimmel Tammuz is about the essence. So we'll talk about it later. Let's sing a song, and then we're going to continue. The Chaim. אז זה גם זה.
זה לא ילוצה, זה רק התחלת תגאולה.
Abby, make sure that Masai. What's the point, guys? What's the point? We're going now through. Everybody, Baruch Hashem, here today is sitting around like mentioned. We're seeing each other. We're going through a vatziv where for a period of time of things in Yadi Kedusha that we were used to. I'm talking about going to shul, having the minyan, being able to not distance yourself from a friend, have Yisrael properly. For whatever reason this happened, for whatever reason people acted in the way they did. But the point is now, we were able to come back to the shul, we were able to sit around the Farbrengen together, we were able to have the food that we have, and then we don't say, okay, it's there, but I got used to a different way of life over the months. We got used to doing whatever they were doing with davening outside the shul, davening by yourself. I used to not learning the shiurim whatever it was. Something was taken away. If it touched our essence, as soon as you can get it back, we fight back for it. That's the point. You can take another point of the story is not only how Gimmel Tammuz touches our essence, and therefore comes Gimmel Tammuz, we turn around and we Farbrengen, and we try to remain connected, but more. I mean, in everyday life, there's a lot of mitzvahs that were challenged, and some is still being challenged, for whatever reason. And now that Baruch Hashem, we have the ability to have the food back, you can see for yourself how connected you were with it. Were you in the mitzvah that is so important that you got it back, you jumped at it, or to you I was happy the way it was before also. The diet wasn't so bad, right? I was on a diet. I found out that you can live on less. You found out you're down without a million. You found out whatever, I don't know, things that are painful, it's hard to talk about. You know, there was a guy there, I need a million, so there was one day I was in the shul, and it was difficult to get a million that day. So there was the shul I davened in has two rooms, the main room and the side room. The side room has 2 million. So after davening, I gave a look on the other room. Come on, that's kind of who's going to say that? Yeah, I'm not good. Oh, yeah. Anyways, so I see there's another guy there. I walk over to him. I wanted to make sure the next day should be easy for a million. So I go over to him. And he's davening. So I sit there and listen, there was a million at 8 o'clock. And I need a million. Maybe tomorrow we can come. That'd be chiddush. So it's not chiddush. I say to him, maybe you wanna tomorrow do me a favor, come earlier. So he says to me, he starts like talking to me and to himself already. He says to me, I don't know. I got a different routine now. So I thought that maybe he's talking about maybe he has to work. The people from Parnassa was affected, so maybe he works in the morning. I said, listen, I'm not Chashem by getting into if you have to Parnassa, you have to be there earlier. If you can, it would be a favor for me if you came for me. So he tells me like this. He tells me, no, Fakir, I'm very happy you came to me. I said, actually, exactly the words I needed to hear. He was struggling with himself after so many weeks, not coming down with a meaning. It's hanging out the under routine. Mela, it was important to him. He came suddenly. He hears that somebody. So he was able to. So he said, "Yes, I'm with tomorrow." But now that he's asking me, I'll make sure to come. So the next morning he was there. He took away the million. He said, "I'm here only because of that." What's the point? The point is the same thing we learn about Hegel Asateva. Get into routines. So the routine Shabbat that was going on until now, that's not a good routine. We have to break out of any bad routine we had and get back into business of understanding that the Eibush is with us. And the truth of the matter is, however the reaction was, and it's not important, the truth of the matter is, and this is what I want to continue with, there's really nothing in the world. There's nothing in the world if the whole world was created for Teda Mitzvahs. Therefore, it's impossible for the Mitzvahs, for the world, to block each of the 10 minutes. I want to share with you. First of all, starting with Gimmel Tammuz. Gimmel Tammuz, when Yeshua said Hashem is giving day. That explains this very beautifully. So the Medrash tells us that the Shemesh, something the Malach, tells Yeshua, be quiet. The whole movement of the Shemesh, it says in the Shkint of the Shkint is Maida, and when it's moving, it's giving Sheva, it's giving praise and thanks to Hashem. It's moving across the sky at a great speed, and it's little to the Eibush. So he says, if I'm going to stop, who's the Eibush? That's the son asks Yeshua, tell me to stop. What happened was Yeshua was fighting, Yeshua had to go to Israel. He was fighting the bad guys, the Knanim, and the sun was setting, and he needed daylight. He had a perfect, he had no problem. He said, son, stop a second. You know, daylight is there. Tell son to stop, imagine, yeah? So that's to never happen again like that, right? The Prophet says this. So, what was the problem? The son says, how can I stop? If I stop, I'm stopping to praise Hashem. I'm stopping to praise Hashem. Who's going to praise Hashem? So Yeshua says to him, to the son, you stop, and I'll praise the Eibishter. So the obvious question is, the son obviously is, all creation praises the Eibishter. The Eibishter is a shira from every single creation. Every single creation is praising Hashem in its way. The son understood if it's not going to praise, other creations are going to praise the Eibishter. So what was his problem? Yeshua was going to praise the Eibishter. But the son's problem was, it's praise. It's thanks to the Eibishter. The way the son gives it, that won't happen because he's stopping. How is Yeshua praising Hashem help the story? So what's the answer? There's two types of praise. One type of praise is the praise of nature. When you see the nature, the world is continuing every single day for the last 5,780 years. The sun is coming up exactly the same time, setting the same time. When you see the continuation, that's a reflection of the idea of Hashem. Because in nature, things should weaken up as they go along. And the fact that it doesn't, that's a proof that it's a reflection. In nature, if you have enough brain to watch it, it's hidden. But you can see the idea of so many creations, and each creation is doing with Eibishter once. You see the Eibishter's idea of Eibishter, you see that's what's supposed to happen. It's hidden in nature. And that's the praise. The praise of nature is when everything reacts in a natural way. That's the praise given to Hashem, that the Eibishter creates the world. But then there's the praise that only a Yid can give the Eibishter. The Yid's praise, we start talking about the Neshama. He does the Neshama. And he has the Neshama nefesh. So the Yid's praise is a Gatlacha praise. It's a praise of the Eibishter is l'mayla midachatava. How the Eibishter, don't get fooled to think that nature is forced to be the way it is. The only reason why nature is the way it is because Eibishter wants to be that way. But nature doesn't have to be it because Eibishter creates it. Eibishter can show you a miracle and nature changes. That's the praise of a Yid. When a Yid makes darkness to the Eibishter for something that he needs, and the Eibishter changes nature for the Yid to give him what he needs. Yeshua needed the sun to stop. So what did Yeshua bring out? He brought out the truth. The sun actually, that was the praise of the sun. The real praise of the sun is not when nature acts in its way forever and it hides Hashem forever. Nature itself demands from time to time to prove it's Hashem by a miracle. That was going on. So therefore the sun, when Yeshua says, I'll sing praise, it wasn't singing the praise of Yeshua. Yeshua was singing the praise that he needed something in order to fulfill Hashem's will in doing a mitzvah. And nature seemed to not work along with it. The sun was setting, and he told the sun to stop, and the sun stopped. The sun stopped, so Yitzhak was able to do his mitzvah of conquering Eretz Yisrael. So that Yeshua brought out the real praise of the Eibishter is that nature is also the Bible higher than nature. So the idea that has a derech hateva, and derech hateva is important, and people get too caught up. People got too caught up in the idea of dirib tachtenim, but it's easy to forget that dirib tachtenim means not that nature has to be nature. Nature has to reveal the higher than nature, and that's what Yid is suited for. Who can reveal in nature that is higher than nature? Yid. When a Yid needs something, there's a munah b'toch. The person that has a Yid has a munah, and they Eibishter. Meaning, he sees a world, and he doesn't get fooled to think that the world came here by itself, and it has its natural course. The strong eats up the weak, and if something's happening, either panosa-wise, medical-wise, or legal-wise, then this is the way the course it has to take, stuff like that. Because it can change nature unless to be connected with Hashem. It's higher than nature. So the real purpose of nature is to show that Hashem is creating nature. How does the Yid have that opportunity to show Hashem creates nature? Dafka when Yid is put into a situation of darkness. And the person is put in a situation where he has a tzara. And he doesn't say, wow, something went wrong. What he sees here is an opportunity for him to show that the world cannot stop a Yid from doing mitzvahs. Even though nature says this situation means you're going to change, to the Yid, right? For example, this is what gave me, I was put in the place, it was very easy for a Yid to say, You know, listen, and I said, put down with the minion and put on Taz and film in the free world is a good thing, but in prison, there, the guards are beating you up and taking Yamakin Tzitzis and taking Yamakin with Taz and film. So, okay, God will understand. But that's missing the whole point. That's missing the whole point. The point is to show that even in the darkness, why they should put you in such a situation? Why are we put in such a situation where there's a mice with a so-called problem, and then therefore there's challenges of how to daven a minion and how to learn and how to farbrengen. The idea is to show that nothing can stop you from serving the Eibishter in his way. Right? That it won't stop us from what you at least yearning. If you can't, because of the Rabbanim passing, you can't do it. You can't do it. But over this moment, you can daven with a minion. I'll go run and daven with a minion, because that was my yearning for it. The Mesiras Nefesh is not taich only when a goy is there beating you up and trying to kill you. That's Mesiras Nefesh. Mesiras Nefesh means Mesiras Ratzon. Means when you give yourself to the Eibishter and you say Azoi Nitan. When it says it can't be any different. So here we get to. So this is the point of Gimmel Tammuz in time of Yeshua, and the same thing happened in Gimmel Tammuz by the Rebbe Rayatz. In a natural way, you had a Russian government, and the Russian government was very powerful, and you had the KGB, whatever they called them in those days, and they were in force, and they tried to imprison the Rebbe, and they even tried to get, even when they were forced to free the Rebbe, they just made a mess. They tried to get the Rebbe to go on a train. The Rebbe wouldn't go on a train on Shabbos. He stayed in prison the extra 2 days because he wouldn't get on a train. He went on Sunday. I can tell you, I personally can relate to everything he's talking about, this whole story. He had an option to leave on Friday. They wanted him not to go on Friday. Why? Because they wanted the Yidden to see a Rebbe drive on the train on Shabbos. A train on Shabbos had mass ayin. But he knew they wanted him to be on a train on Shabbos. He's not going. He stayed in the Makam Safona. You can kill him any second. And he left on Sunday. And that's what Gimmel Tammuz is, on Sunday. And by the train station, this is I learned when I was a bocher, and I want to show you how you take something you learn, we learn in Torah, and how you can apply it to your daily life. I remember learning this as a bocher yeshiva in Baristan. So on Gimmel Tammuz, the Rebbe's freed from a literal death sentence. Rebbe Rayatz, right? In Russia, 1927. And they give him a few hours to go home, and then he goes to the train station. And the Chassidim came to say goodbye to them. Nobody knew. It's very interesting. Nobody knew that Gimmel Tammuz, maybe you remember this better than I do. Nobody knew if Gimmel Tammuz is for real or not. They didn't know if the Russians were up to their tricks and they're just a way to get him out of sight from politically, or and they want to do some hasham bit to him, or it's for real. Later we figured out Gimmel Tammuz was for real. The same thing we're doing today. We can't figure out what Gimmel Tammuz is right now, but you'll see. Another moment you'll see, we'll figure out the whole thing is dafka for the Geulah Shleima. That was a lot of them. I heard from my parents. So my parents weren't there then, but they were the next generation. So the Rebbe Rayatz is there. This is reprinted in the Sichel. And you can read it, the Rebbe recounts this in Pasha V'Yetzeh. And he said, the Rebbe Rayatz sets up, one of the things he says, listen to this. He's talking about the Neshama, he's talking about how Yid have the power to change the world. The Yid is not under the thing of nature. And the Rebbe said this, the nations of the world have to know that only, because they were trying to stop people from doing Torah mitzvahs, that only the Guf went into Golus. The Neshama never went into Golus. What was he saying? He was saying that, so when it comes to the inyanim of taxes, when it comes to the inyanim of following the laws of the land, when it comes to pertaining to the Guf, then you have to listen to the word of the land. When it comes to the inyanim from the Neshama, then you don't have the faket. The goyim have no sleep on you, and they have no control over you, and you're not even in Golus. You're in freedom. You are free to do whatever you want to do. Listen to this. So I remember learning this in Sita, and the obvious question is, what are you talking about? This is a nice hair splitting over here. Where's the Neshama? The Neshama is in the Guf. I mean, if you're admitting that the Guf is in Golus, you're hoping the Neshama is connected to the Guf, because when there's a separation between the Neshama and Guf, you got a bigger problem, right? The Neshama goes up and the Guf stays down here, you have a bigger problem than Golus. It's amazing, right? So you're admitting that the goof is in Golis. So when he tells you the Neshama is not in Golis, the Neshama is stuck to the goof. And if the goof is in Golis, the Neshama is in Golis.
Because I have a Zoom meeting for Yom.
Right? And then a line later, the Rebbe answers it. A line later. What he's telling, the Rebbe is telling you is that if you live with your Neshama, then not only is Neshama not in Golos, your goof is also not in Golos. You have to know who you are. Bottom line, you have to know who you are. When you know you're a Yid, then your Yid has a Neshama. We started with the song and we have a Neshama. The Eibishter chose us. The Bechir and the Eibishter means is one of the Eibishter chooses us as his nation. And we have a Neshama. And our Neshama is a Chelik HaKamival Mamash Getlichkeit, right? So therefore, when we choose to live with our Neshama, it's not actually only that spiritually we're free. Physically we're free. We don't have the burden and limitations of goals around us. Why? Because the Neshama picks up the goof. The Neshama changes the goof. We talk about Nes and Tava. We talk about this is connected. We talked about this with Yeshua and the Son. It's not separate. And you have to know him and Tava are two opposite things. The Eibishter wants him to live in Tava. The Eibishter wants us to live in Tava. The Eibishter wants us to work. The Eibishter wants us to go to a doctor with us. Not because the doctor's going to heal. And not because the work is going to be upon us. But the Eibishter wants his bracha, but the bracha of the Eibishter is not Elikim, Shem Elikim of Teva. The Eibishter, the Eden on Hashem Avaya. Keirach admitted. Keirach said, Madut is Nasu Akal Avaya. Eden on Avaya, Eden on higher nature. Even the goof, it's up to us. So if we live with our Neshama, then we're above the whole matzav of Golus. That means when we have Kvisa Tilatera Pasha, and we do mitzvahs with Achayas, and we don't get Fadraken cup when it comes to a problem with Teva, because we know Teva is in the Eibishter, we turn to the Eibishter with the situation. We don't get angry with a friend if a friend does something bad to us. We don't have happy Sisero. Why? Because we know that if we are being hurt by somebody, it's not the person hurting us. The person who's hurting us is doing a bad choice to do an Aveda. And he has to mechila, and he has to pay the damages. But the fact that he can hurt somebody is only because the Eibishter wants that person to do the tshuva. So he should direct his upsetness to himself and to realize why is the Eibishter doing this thing, not with the person. This is living with the neshama. And then you can have Abbas Yisrael, and then you can have a nice kehila, but nobody's angry at each other. How can you argue at somebody? He didn't do nothing to you. A person, nobody can hurt the fundamental of the Tochen. He says this in a very, very simple, not Chiddush basis, a very, very different basis. There's nobody that can help a person, there's nobody that can hurt a person without the permission. Chiddush explains it in Barichas, but this is what it says in Shabbat. If you really internalize that, you don't get angry at anybody. If somebody smashes into your car, you don't get angry at the guy for driving recklessly. You wonder why they wanted you to have a damage or a bad day that you're having a difficult day going through. It doesn't do with the guy, because that guy would never be able to smash into your car if your car wasn't supposed to be smashed. There's two things going on, right? So, if you're living in the Shama, then not only you're happy in the Shama, your goof is happy. They first time they threw me into a place called prison in South Dakota. So I had a matzav there. The guard came in, and he wants. I'll take a work on Gimmel Tammuz. I learned in Yeshiva how many years before, and suddenly it came to light, and it came to light dafke because I was going through a darkness. Shasmais, I couldn't imagine anything more dark. And they got to bring me into this room, and the whole prison is designed to throw a aim of a facet, to throw a fear and make you feel under their control. All those situations, they bring you in chains, and the details are important, but the side of it. The guy brings in a bundle of clothes, prison clothes, the put-in clothes with the stripes, outer stripe, orange, whatever, to make you feel even lower than you are. And you got to change up. So I have to start changing over. So I realized I had my yarmulke on, and tzitzis on, and nothing. He didn't give me yarmulke and tzitzis in a prison style. It wasn't part of the gear. So I'm looking over there. I see a shirt. I see pants. Then ich kann tzitzis and yarmulke with the orange. So right? So I asked the guy, "Can I keep my yarmulke?" He says no. Everything I got to know. So what my tzitzis? Nope. I was kind of surprised because America's a beautiful country. What's the kindness of America? Because America allows us to do mitzvahs. Even a person is fundamentally, this is beautiful. I don't exist in relevant in any other country in the world. You have to be thankful for it. So I was kind of surprised. So I thought I'll explain them. I'll give them a 101 in Judaism. I said, listen, they brought me here. I didn't just decide to be Jewish. You just brought me in here. I bring out this because in the Jewish code of Jewish law, it said that a Jew must wear yarmulke tzitzis at all times. And he's not allowed to even walk for a step without it. The mailer, I need to have it. And I was told me, we can take it. I know we can take it away by force. I said, if you take it away from me, I'm going to be stuck in one place. I'm able to move. I wasn't trying to be a wise guy. I was trying to tell them that this is the gay of the halach. You take away from yarmulke tzitzis, how am I going to walk? I can't walk. So I was explaining to him, I need to have it. So instead of this guy, I guess, wasn't trained correctly, so he tells me, listen, buddy, I don't forget this, word for word, it's not paraphrasing, it tells me, listen, buddy, a lot of things are going to change for you tonight. He puts his face in front of my face. Before Corona, today will be a little distancing, but a lot of. So what's the key? So in this, he obviously wanted to shock me or scare me, whatever he wanted. He didn't tell me. But the words they used was exactly what I needed to hear. He tells me a lot of things are going to change for tonight. See, in the Cheshach, in the Nesayim, you'll see the Rebbe with you. Because the Rebbe doesn't want you to fall down. The Rebbe wants to pick you up. The Rebbe wants you to access your etzem, your connection with him that is beyond anything of seichel, because you're going to get something back for it. But just because you want to be with him. That's the purpose of an aside. If you miss the purpose, the saying in politics, the politics, the saying, you never waste a good shit, a crisis. It should be wasted. We have an asayim. It's not by mistake. We daven every single day out of the asayim. But when the asayim happens, we daven every single day. We ask Abishah, don't bring me to an asayim because you never know how you're going to act to it. But when the asayim happens, you have to act like a yid. So this guy tells me a lot of things will change. What triggers in my mind? Right? He wants to change me. And then invite me. He wants to take my uncle off. And my sisters off. Make me look like a goy. Put me with a bunch of goyim. And then what? Sodas. So right then and there, I made a achlota that one thing is happening, I ain't changing. I'm staying where I am. I'm a yid. That's where I am. So I made a yarmulke tzitzis can't go. But this progress, he takes me, so I tell him, I'm sorry, I can't do it. So he takes me to different places. That's what he brings me his superior. Here the Gimel Tammuz comes into play. The superior walks in, and now we're talking through bars. On one side of the bars, the other side. And he tells me, what's going on? It was like 9, 10 at night, and I'm turning the place over. I don't want to listen. I said, I want to listen to everything I want to do, but my yarmulke says I have to have. It says, the code of Jewish law, it says a Jew has to have yarmulke tzitzis. I have yarmulke tzitzis. Without I can't move. He had enough brains, and he says, check out the rabbi. He can't believe me. So look, which rabbi? This is in South Dakota. So I was sure even if not even a reform rabbi, knows the yarmulke tzitzis is a chiluk from Judaism, yeah? And according to American law, I'm still have it, I'll get it. He comes back 15 minutes later. It's still a long time. He comes back 15 minutes later. I never meant to forget this moment either. This is like the beginning of the 8.5 years. Comes back with a piece of paper, and he's reading from the piece of paper because he's reading to me what this rabbi is saying to me. Listen to the, how do you say, Azorius? Azorius. Say this. He's sitting, this guy must be sitting somewhere in his house. He gets an email. There's a Jew in prison who wants to yarmulke tzitzis. Should I let him or not? Say yeah. What's your problem? Say you can't. Is any skin off you? So, and the guy, in defense of all the police there, he never get it to me. Instead, he comes and he tells me, but for my benefit, he comes and he tells me, the rabbi says to you that you have to remember who you are. You're in prison. I didn't know. You had to remind me. And on top of that, he tells me that they're the boss. That's not the English boss. They're the boss. If they tell you have to get against tzitzis, you have to listen to them. Take a against tzitzis. Yeah. So here I thought I have an ally. With them all, my ally turned an enemy. So now the rabbi is supporting the police who wanted to go against tzitzis, the guards. And then he finishes off. There's a big comment of also. This is the key. This is what triggered the thing. He tells me, and it says in the Gemara, it says the Torah, dinner the machus dinner. Okay, he didn't say it like I said it. He said, do you know the machus? He's being translation. Do you know the machus or dinner? I was shocked. First of all, such words come pouring out of a guy's mouth. It was interesting. And why is this rabbi giving ammunition to a guard not to give him my own consistence? I say to him, you know what dinner machus dinner means? No, I have no idea. I remember at times laughing. I was trying to pick myself up. I'm talking to him through bars. Yeah. So I'm thinking to myself, who's really behind bars, me or him? Because to me, if you look at me, he thinks I'm behind bars. I look at it, he's behind bars, right? Who's really? I'm fighting for my when the shot it hit me. This what came to my mind. Dinner was a dinner. I said, oh, 1 second, it's impossible for a rabbi to tell you that I don't have to be Tzitzis, because there's a greater rabbi. The Lubavitcher Rebbe told him in 1927, he was put into, I give him a 5 minute, to his credit. To his credit, he let me talk for 5 minutes. I wasn't so much talking to him, because I can't believe he understood one word that I was talking about. I told him there's a big rabbi, Lubavitcher Rebbe, the Rabbi Rayatz, and in 1927, the communists threw him into prison. They wanted to kill him. And when he got out, he said, only the body went to go, it's not the neshama. Only the body, not the soul. Which means, I was trying to explain to him, shachas to the body, right? But when it comes to the neshama, like Yamkin and Tzitzis, it has no bearing, because here, I have to wherever I am, I want to go. And this gave me a tremendous amount of physical. The reason I'm sharing the story, I'm not trying to say stories. If you want to think of one thing, they can pick yourself up out of the limitations of Golus. Remember this. If you are not in Golus, if you live with your neshama, you're not in Golus. That's what we're talking about. Because the neshama never went to Golus. So you have a greater. If you live with your groove, if you're chase after the title of Gashmis, and chase after things that satisfy your physical needs beyond what you need, Aviz Hashem, so that has its limitations. But if you pick yourself up, you live with your neshama, and you don't let yourself, what does it mean? When you don't want to get out of bed in the morning to go to a million you get out of bed because you live with your neshama. When you don't want to do a mitzvah, you do the mitzvah, you live with your neshama. That makes you free. That doesn't encumber you, it makes you free. That's what I live with. This was mamish hit me. I live with this for the next 8 years. Live with your neshama, you're free. And the story continues. This guy wasn't sure exactly what I was talking about. I took him 5 minutes. I'm nice in Russia. Time is Russia. He didn't know what I'm talking about. I had time nice in Russia. Communism. He realizes that something. So he tells me he's going to check again with his rabbi. Yeah. He goes out. He checks with the rabbi again. He comes back, and the rabbi tells him. The rabbi tells me, okay, the rabbi said you can keep one of them. I don't remember what he said. Either Yamak or the sisters. This. Huh? No, I don't think so. I was shocked. I don't want to complain about this in the This guy, whoever he was. Anyways, I told him I need both. I need my consistency. He wouldn't listen to it. They came in, 5 guys came in, they took away my consistency with force. I'm not moving. I can't move. They said, I'm stuck. Yeah. So the guy, what are you going to do? Okay, they came with a wheelchair. They came with a wheelchair. They put me in a wheelchair. I got a free ride all the way to the south of the apartment. But that's the point. The point is like this. The point is, we're talking about today. What is Gimel Tammuz? Gimel Tammuz, and you should know, if you look at it back, so to make a long story short, Dafka is this way of living with the neshama, of listening to the Rebbe, how we're supposed to live our lives, the truth, how things work. This gave me the ability to live through 8 and a half years, and very, 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 very. If you ask anybody in the world of nature, a psychiatrist, a psychologist, a therapist, I don't know, we're full of the game there. etc., etc. That tell you it's supposed to bring you depression, it's supposed to bring you to nothing. Nothing. Why? Why? This is one of Farbrengen. Because the neshama is free. If you're living in the neshama, then you as a yid are not connected. It's not like the psychiatrist and therapist doesn't understand human psychology. That's not what I'm saying. The psychiatrists and psychologists went to study human psychiatry, but they study this on people that are under the laws of nature. We are a different breed. We're Yidden. We have a neshama. We have a moon that everything's Eibishter. We have a tochem. We realize that a test is not chashon to break us. It's for us to say that even in this matzah, the Eibishter is still here with us. That's what a test is all about. And if Yam Kitzur is taken away, you can't move without it. What's going to happen in the next step? I have no idea. I didn't know. I did know. I found out. I wouldn't walk. But in a wheelchair, in a different place, I had this two times. Second time, they picked me up. I wound up in the hospital from a infection. But at the end of both times, I got back my Kitzur. Took a few hours. I got it back. Didn't happen because any askonus. Didn't happen because anybody jumped in for me. The Eibishter made it happen because when the Yid connects himself with the Eibishter, with his neshama, that's who he is. That's who he is. That's the point. That's what Gimmel Tammuz. This is what the Rebbe teaches us. Who we are, and we are attacking the Tachten, attacking living in this world. We have the ability to connect with the L'mayla, with the Eibishter, through Torah mitzvahs, and when we connect with the Eibishter, then we are not limited in the realm of nature. So that's the thing. The Chaim.
The Chaim.
There's guys, this is what he's doing. Listen to this. Hey guys, Chaim. There was a guy there, talking about Yarmulke and Tzitzis. I always walked around, Baruch Hashem. You think in a place, you're holed up in the building, you're quarantined, and everybody understands this lingo today. Quarantine, the lock-ins, and Achman of the sun, yeah. So there's I always walked around. The Yarmulke and Tzitzis, looking back, it never even dawned upon me. I was stuck in a place, in a very, very small place, small building. I imagine being stuck on a subway station with a bunch of, one guy was a killer for money, killed me for money, this older guy. Other guys were mafia, hitmen. There was a nice chevle over there, it's interesting people. And it never dawned upon me anything different. I walks on the Yarmulke and Tzitzis. I want to share with you a story. Hello? You can't hear? Okay. There was walking. So Yarmulke and Tzitzis was a normal. Why? Talking about, I live with the idea of a Munna, Aleph Beis Gimel. A Munna, that's a foundation. It's not something which is for masculine, for higher people, right? A Munna means the clear understanding of whatever is happening from Hashem. And therefore everything's for good. The Tachan means that we have the power. Hashem obligates us and wants us to trust Him to make it good. Because it's not enough. It's not enough that Hashem knows it's good. Hashem wants us to ask Him to see how good that we can understand is good also. That's what the Tachan means. And it's not only a good idea, it's an obligation. So part of the B'tachon means that the B'tayach, the one who trusts Hashem, does what Hashem wants, because since he wants Hashem to do what he wants, he has to do what Hashem wants. So walking down this hallway in this prison one day, with a bunch of guys, every week a bus would pull in with new customers. It seemed to be a very desired place because every week some new guys came in. And they wait online to get the stuff they needed. And after a while, you get used to it, you don't see these things. And I walk by, and one of these guys sitting there, a white guy, tall guy. I walk by, and my tzitzis, I used to wear my tzitzis outside. I'm just as I talk to my parents. I was flowing in the breeze, So he picks up that wearing tzitzis. So he says to me, he says loud, not to me, he says to everybody, "Hey, give a look. That guy has strings hanging out of his pants. He's making fun of me. He's short. He's making fun of me." Now, I had two choices. I heard this. I really passed it. I had two choices. I can walk by as if I didn't hear, or I can turn around and ask what his problem was, Because if I walked away, this would come right to him. He's making fun of me. So I had to put this thing, and not that I felt stronger than him or anything, I felt that he's embarrassing the mitzvah. I turn around to him, the Hebrew, I turn around to him, and I say to him, "Hey, what's your problem?" Now, this is a little me. 5'7", whatever, short guy. He's like a 10 tall, white guy, tall guy. And he looks at me, and instead of saying a word, I was expecting to get a living with me. Instead, he says, "No, I wasn't making fun of you. I actually wanted to show me that he actually was not making fun of me." He says, "I know where they are. That's it, right? That's how I found out this boy is Jewish." I said, if I didn't remember tzitzis, I never would ever believe the guy is Jewish. So the way he said tzitzis, the Yiddish Uysprach, the Yiddish accent. I looked at him and said, "You're Jewish?" I remember, I forgot how. So he says, "Yeah." So we are talking, and he tells me he was a Jewish kid who grew up in Farah, and he went to Tammuz, and he was a wild fellow, seemed like, because teachers couldn't teach him properly, and he got out of the streets, and he started. He became part of gangs over there. Not only became part of gangs, he became a gang member, a gang leader from some Mexican gang. And then they did something, I don't know, he wound up in a high security prison, federal. It must have been jaywalking, speeding, I'm not sure exactly. So he winds up over there. This high security prison was made for people that were physically dangerous. And he tackled this guy who never got his ball outside out of him, because even when he came, so he was there for 11 years, and now they transferred him to where I was. So I think it's slower. It was high security. It was called medium. They wrote it because he's leaving in a year, and they wanted to acclimate him to society. Since also love on top of love, and that's how I met him. They just wanted me to meet this guy, and he's Jewish. So what if I find that guy is Jewish? What is going to happen? I started trying to figure out a way. Yes, it's on film. The prayer, I figured out a way. I started on film. He started putting on film every single day, and I started every day. Every time I asked him, most times he would put on film with me. Sometimes I wouldn't see him. So I got up to I was on the second floor, he was on the third floor, fifth floor. We were elevated. So I had to run up all the fifth floor. I go into the cell. I say his name, his nickname. Everybody has nicknames. Nobody knows his real name. I don't remember his real name. And one day, I keep on telling the story. One day, I'm hoping to meet this guy, and his nickname was Ghost. So I'm not a ghost. And I say, Ghost, you want to put on film today? He tells me, laying in bed, doing absolutely nothing. I mean, there's no screen to watch, there's no telephone to talk on, there's nothing. He says, Rabbi, I'm too busy now.
I'm sorry, you had a nickname also?
My nickname was Rabbi. They gave me the Rabbi. So he says, Rabbi, I'm busy now. He's laying in bed. He's laying on the shelf and doing absolutely nothing, and he's busy. How many times we do the same thing to ourselves? Not now. I'm very busy right now. Very busy. Person busy in prison. There's no meetings to go to. There's nothing happening. Absolutely nothing. Yeah, besides it's out of us, I did not cross. Anyways, I didn't push too much. The point of the story is that this guy, I had to find him to put on film. I was most of the time to put on film. One day, I'm sitting in this cell. I remember this after the first 3 years I was there. This is cell number 217. I'm sitting in there for everybody. He walks in, and he tells me, I said, Good morning, Mr. Ghost. Good morning, Rabbi. So he says, Rabbi, you have a minute? I said, yeah, of course. What's going on? He said, I want to put on film. You want to put on film with me? Cool. He wants to put on film with me. And I said, this piqued my interest. I said, what's going on? And he looked a little bit, it's a tzichisht. Yeah, it's a tzichisht in English. He looked at tzichisht, huh? Farbrengen. I said, he looked Farbrengen. He looked like totally disoriented. I can make it the right way. Disoriented. He looked like he saw a ghost. I said, what? If I said to him, you're sure it's on film, but what's up? What you look terrible. He tells me, this is the point I want to take from the story. He tells me that he got last few days ago, last week, a while ago, a few days ago. He called to the office and they told him that he's leaving in a date. They gave him a due date. The baby is born. He's going out. They don't tell a guy until a few days before. He's going a few weeks before. He's going a few weeks. Good to make a kiddush. What do you? And therefore, because they told me he's leaving, I can't sleep at night. I fall asleep in 5 minutes. I get up with a fish. He gets up as I worry. I said, "You kidding? If I was told I'm leaving in a few weeks, I'd make a big kiddush." Funny. So she says to me, Dr. Mir, don't laugh. Rabbi, don't laugh. Because we're not going to. I'm going outside. My friends are out there. I don't know go back to this in Sheboygan. It's 10 years. I don't know whether a job, how I support myself, what am I doing? In prison, he was a Mr. Tough guy, yeah? But now he's going out. He's going to go back. So Mele, he's looking for a little Lucha Nefesh, so he came to put on film. This is the point of the whole story. This guy, a guy that Mamish, what was his connection? Talk about it in Shom. Just a ghost. As a ghost. His connection with the Neshama was very small. He had a little bit of a chinuch and a Talmud Torah. He knew Tzitzis law. But most of his life was running around with gangs. He was doing things. He wound up in a federal prison for 10 years. And I can tell you how tough it is in the place I was, in the place he was with different things. It was even tougher. And talk about loneliness and how quarantine affects a person's brain. Imagine what affected how him for 10 years, 11 years. When he was looking for Luchanav, he knew exactly what you do when you can't fall asleep at night. What do? You go to a psychiatrist. In prison, they have like 5, 6, 7 psychiatrists on duty. And when a prisoner comes to them and they tells them they can't sleep, they have problems, they listen to them. And what if they give them drugs? They give them drugs. They give them Xantax, Schmantax, whatever. They give them drugs to make them fall asleep. And some guys have the problem. The other problem, they came in for drugs and they're on the drug line every single day. It's not the Metzius. But he didn't go to get a drug. That's a peddler. He was looking for real tranquility. So obviously, for all the weeks I was spending on months, it's a few months later, for all the months I was spending on film with you guys, talk about mitzvah. We're talking about how mitzvah energizes the neshama. Whether we do understand, all these months, there had to be something. And his neshama woke up, his neshama felt a certain ruyukite in English means tranquility. You can't, ruyukite in Yiddish means a certain nuchs hanefesh, a certain restfulness. And he felt that now that he couldn't find peace and rest in his mind, he can't put on film himself. That's the point. And I want to say to you, at that point, flashed in my mind, how about Farbrengen? As a young buck, everything goes back to what you're doing in yeshiva. I can't tell you what year it was, but I remember I was a buck in yeshiva. And that Shabbos, there was a Pagisha. Today it's called Encounter. Today it's called, I don't know what it's called. They bring in people from different Pagisha. So then the crowd was one for Shabbos for boys, one for women. 30, 50 people, that was the big crowd. Then for them, it was a big deal. And the Rebbe would speak by the Farbrengen. The Rebbe would say a sikha, you can see clearly he's speaking to them. The Rebbe spoke in Yiddish. Always spoke in Yiddish. Most of the time, anyways. In Chiddush, we speak to different languages, but probably the Rebbe spoke in Yiddish. But you can see from the sikha, he's talking to them and he expected people to translate to them. But obviously, why is the Rebbe talking in Yiddish if they can't understand? Because when the Rebbe talks, he's talking to the neshama. When Aaron Akayan, lights up the candles in the Beis Hamikdash. It seems to be a private mitzvah. He goes with his whole shmei brother. He walks inside. He lights. It explains us that he's not just lighting candles. He's lighting up on the shamas. This is what Keirach had a problem with. Keirach argued, what do I need Aaron Akayan to light me up? What do I need Aaron Akayan to draw down that feeling of Kedusha to me through lighting the 7 Mededas? When Aaron Akayan was able to elevate Yidden to his level of Avos Hashem. Aaron Akayan was a symbol, was a level of Avos Hashem, a high level, higher than today. By him lighting the candles, he elevated us simple Yidden to that level. Keirach didn't want to hear from that. This was Parsha. Why? Because Keirach argued that he can handle himself. Because but some mice, we'll talk about it soon. When we bring it up L'chaim, we'll talk about that also. But when the Rebbe is talking Yiddish, he's not just talking Yiddish and you think it's passing people over their head. The Rebbe is a Reish of Yisrael. And when he says about Torah, he's speaking to the neshama. When you're putting on a tefillin, you're talking to your neshama. It's very much part of you. You're talking about it. Your neshama is not negolus. It's for real. So this guy, that's why I want to show you this story. I have a few other stories, but this is the story I saw it most compelling. He was looking for menuchas nefesh. He didn't go to get Xanax from the psychiatrist to fall asleep. He came to put on film because obviously when he put on film, he had to feel something that he's in the Shama. So the Rebbe said like this. The Rebbe, the 1 year that I was speaking, explaining to a group of Yidden that you think are not Shema Torah mitzvahs, as a Bach in Yeshiva then, the Rebbe was talking to me. I really think the Rebbe was talking to me. And the Rebbe was saying, when you do a mitzvah, you feel in the Shama. Right? So when you eat, you never say, I am not going to eat until I go to college. And then when I understand how food nourishes me, then I'll eat. Because if you do that, you're not going to make it to college. You're going to die. First you have to eat. And then you go learn if you want to learn. Same thing with the mitzvah. First you have that's the nishma. First you have to do the mitzvah. And then you nourish. That's one level. Then it gets deeper. The Rebbe says, what happens if you decide not to do the mitzvah? What happens if you decide what happens if you're in a situation where you don't do the mitzvah? How does it affect you? So he brought a marshal from a child. When a child is born, he doesn't know what food is, right? A baby is born, it's new to the world. It doesn't say anything will happen in the world. So at what point does a child know that food sustains him, that food nourishes him? Food is chayes. You never find the baby that gets born naturally, when he's missing food, he starts crying. It's missing. It feels an emptiness in his stomach. It feels that something is missing, or worse, hunger pain. So it starts crying. The mother realizes that the baby is crying. Why is the baby crying? It's hungry. So it feeds the baby. Now the baby does this 3-4 times a day, as most parents here know. Some parents never know. I don't know. I fall asleep and my wife takes care of everything. But the baby has to eat 4 times a day. And if the 4 times a day, so many weeks, so many months, the baby figures out that this pain and this discomfort gets disquieted, gets calmed down by food. At that point, the baby starts asking for food. That's what I say. You never find the parent telling a baby, when you're hungry, when you feel a certain pain in your stomach, and you feel uncomfortable, ask me for food. Never happens. Doesn't happen. Doesn't have to happen. Because as the baby is going through life, the baby figures out that when it gets hungry, it gets uncomfortable, and it has a certain yearning, it felt something's missing, and it gets soothed, it gets nourished by food, so it starts crying for food. It starts crying, and it gets food, and then by the time it figures out the correlation between the bottom that it eats and the pain going away, it starts asking for food by itself. So this explains the Rebbe like this. A Yid, for reasons we don't know, we'll never know. Some Yidden are born to families that they teach their children what Torah mitzvahs are. You're a Yid, you have neshama needs food, neshama needs clothes, Torah mitzvahs, and that's the way you nourish the neshama. And if you feel one day that you don't feel right, think about it may very well be your neshama is not being fed. There's a part of you that's not being fed. A very, very integral part of you is not being fed. And that's why you're not feeling right. It's not because you're missing a car. It's not because you're missing a vacation. It's not because you're missing a good ride. It's not because it's because you need a stickle. Your neshama needs to put on film. And you'll see you'll feel better. Right? But some Yidden, I remember never saying these words. He says, for reasons we don't understand. But that's the Eibusher's cheshbonos. Some neshamas come down and they get born to families. They're not told this. It doesn't mean that they don't have a neshama, and doesn't mean that they don't have a yearning and this empty feeling and the feeling of less than fulfillment because they're not having the mitzvahs. So they will mistake this empty feeling in their stomach that they have to go bungee diving. Or bungee. They have to jump out of planes with parachutes. They have to jump off this parachute. That's the guy there, a Russian guy from Brighton Beach. Brighton Beach is a neighborhood somewhere in Brooklyn next to the beach. Brighton Beach, next to the beach, yeah. A lot of Russians even from Russia are there. He tells me, he had a friend that he used to always like these high adrenaline rushes type of activities, jumping out of planes.
Sports.
Extreme sports. Anytime he had an extra day vacation, he would jump out of planes, jump off mountains, he do things like that. Then he tells me this guy, he met Lubavitch in Brighton Beach, he started putting on film, keeping Shabbos, and boom. He doesn't do it anymore. I couldn't imagine, but religious Jews can't jump out of airplanes. Jews don't allow you to jump out of airplanes. Then it's obviously you can jump out of what you want. This Yid is a perfect example. This Yid had this in himself, a pesayurni. He had a pesakoch. He thought if he jumps out of an airplane, he gets his adrenaline rush, and for a moment it works. It's a neshama in the body. But that doesn't answer the question. You can't satisfy the need of a neshama with a physical replacement. It doesn't work. So for a moment, it drugs you, but then it goes back. You're still hungry again. So when this ghost walking to me and says, the seller tells me he wants to put on film. What was this? This is a mamish what I was talking about. He felt in his neshama a ruyikite, a fulfillment, and he put on film for all these months. He started davening, he started learning a little bit, whatever he was doing, yeah? He felt a Yiddishkeit in the neshama. You can't put your finger on, but that's what it is. That's what they eat. And this is the lesson for us. We're talking about we have a neshama. We're talking about that this neshama is higher than teva, is higher than nature. How do you express this neshama? How do you bring out the neshama? That's the question. The answer is to Torah mitzvahs. We learn Torah. We do a mitzvah, a munah, and b'tochen. So munah says Moshe Rabbeinu was a munah, and b'tochen means that the Eibishter will reveal the way. When we do Torah mitzvahs, that is the way we're able to bring out our neshama and get out of our limitations. So here's what happens. So we get into a situation with a ma'aseh is a big problem, and so instead of looking at the world as seeing the world as an obstacle to Torah mitzvahs, it's impossible. That's the good of the whole story is. The story of Gimmel Tammuz, the Shem is giving them, but Yeshua is teaching us. And the story of Gimmel Tammuz, the Rebbe coming out of prison. It is not as important as it is to do a mitzvah. We have to remember that the world cannot object, cannot stay truly. When the world seems like, how do you say it, is obstructing, is opposing your ability to be, it's not true. It's only because Hashem is testing you to see where you're at. Hashem is testing you to see, are you going to give in to think the world is a mitzvah for itself that can oppose you? It's impossible for the world. And this is when the guy took away from Yamach and Tzitzis, it wasn't a chiddush. This world in Torah. It looks like the world, he can't oppose Miriam and Tzitzis. It's like it didn't, because the Pele got it back. L'chaim. This is from we're taking from Farbrengen, is that we have Torah mitzvahs. And Torah mitzvahs is the nourishment of our neshama. And the world cannot block it from us. And when we do it, Torah mitzvahs, that is exactly when we have the nefesh we're looking for. Not chas v'sholom, when you try to find nefesh in the limitations of the world, that all fails. Because the world contains and locks in and exiles the neshama, so they can't express itself. So what's the answer? The answer is to stay with him and say it's nefesh. The Rebbe says in the Mayim Bata Tzava, the Rebbe says that there's two ways to reveal the neshama. One way is by learning Torah, that Moshe Rabbeinu taught us. Another way is doing a mitzvah Mesilas Nefesh. What does it mean doing Mesilas Nefesh? Mesilas Nefesh doesn't mean jumping off a roof. This nefesh is when a yid is in a situation where he has the option to say to himself, well, I can't come to shul. The last one. It's a mistake. That wissen, and the world cannot oppose a yid that wants to take mitzvahs. And that's where the true feeling of the true freedom is, because not only is the neshama free, because then also the guf is free. Also, Chaim. First of all, you need Mashiach now. It's getting a little late. I hope everybody's going to stay a little bit longer. If I bring the schedule, everybody's busy with schedules. It's scheduled from 9 to 12. So I hope that nobody's leaving. I hope we're going to have Farbrengen. We'll say the Chaim. I hope we're going to try to internalize the lessons of Gimmel Tammuz. And this is very important, because the need for Gimmel Tammuz is about our essence, our connection with the Rebbe, that the Rebbe is still with us, our connection with serving the Eibishter, with the full emunah b'toch the Eibishter will bring Gula Shlem with Mashiach, even though it looks dark, even though it looks difficult. You have to realize that the difficult is not true. It's not real. That's the point. The world cannot, because the world is created by Teda Mitzvahs. The world is created for the Yid. That's what Emunah means. Emunah means therefore the world cannot oppose a Yid to do Teda Mitzvahs. When a Yid shows that he stands strong in his desire to do a mitzvah means connection with the Eibishter, then the Eibishter changes the world for him. And that is, like Yeshua told the son, you can stop. You can stop. Who is going to say the praise to Hashem? If you're not moving, we'll say the praise, because the biggest praise is the world itself wants the Yid to act like a Yid. Well, I said like that, huh? And from one side, the world screams, don't be a Yid. But the truth of the matter is, the thing is, the world wants us to act like a Yid, not like a Goy. I want to talk about this in the next thing. I want to tell you a story. I want to share with you a story with my own son. After this thing, going through a tremendous decision like we did. I have children. And my youngest son was 4 years old when they took me in chains. Yeah, and I want to share with you the power of the neshama, tafka by a child, and how we are supposed to talk to ourselves and to our children. L'chaim, l'chaim. Wie ist Name? Ghost.
Oh, na.
That's good.
If they want to leave, we'll stop.
What do you have?
Two people over there. I did that. Yeah, there are more people. I'm sure they did that. Oh, you know.
Water. Okay, hi everybody. Hi. I don't know if to begin. Hi, myself. Yeah, Havla. What's your name? What's your name? Mendel. Levi. Are your name? Ali. Hi. I want to tell you a story. Every story has a possibility of it going different ways. You understand? It's not a halacha shulchan aruch which is cast in stone. That's the way it is. Every story you have could have happened different ways, and that's why you repeat a story. Because you can ask why did it go this way, it can go a different way, what would happen this way. That's the bunch of a story, right? I tell you halacha. Halacha is nice, are you? Is it nice? Huh? Yeah. A story. Why do you choose? I like this story because there's the lesson is it's based on what we know who you are, Yidden. And when we address a problem like a Yid, then we have happy results. We don't have to come on exterior. We have a little. Here's a mindset. My little boy, the youngest kid, was 4 years old when they came into the house. Today, the whole world is racking with the mice brutality, but I'm not getting into that. So the bottom line is, they made sure that they should arrest me. I didn't kill anybody, didn't shoot anybody. It winds up being that they made many mistakes in the charges, but we're not getting into that. But apparently, he sees his father being taken away in chains and handcuffs. Imagine. Then later, he visits his father behind glass in county jails, and finally in the federal prison, face to face, but in this khaki looking suits, whatever. Not the type of style you would choose for yourself, right? What am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that what you would describe as a traumatic experience for a child, but the child watches the parents, and when the parents live with the emunah, whatever is happening is not by accident, it's not by chance here. It's from the Eibishter and Gamzul Teva, and not only Gamzul Teva, the Eibishter will make it reveal good also. That's where he was. So here's the story. 4 years later, 4 years later, in a visiting room in Otisville, New York. Otisville is known for a prison on top of this mountain, federal prison, and there's a visiting room. And one of the kindness of Hashem that I saw, that this visiting was behind glass. We could visit like people across the table. And in this visiting room, there was a machine There was vending machines that they allowed the visitors to buy normal food, and the prisoners could also enjoy that food also. So they had the candies and licorice, whatever. They also had real food, kosher food also, that kind people were able to help to stock it so the prisoners could eat. And one of the machines there was an ice cream machine. It was like ice cream. Everyone like ice cream. Children and adults. The problem with this ice cream is that this ice cream was, initially, when I first came over there, the ice cream had over there a little symbol of, I don't know exactly what, but then it had a little D next to it. You know what D stands for, right? What does D stand for? Disaster. Danger. Yeah. Right? No, that's
Pshetlach.
That's Fetlach. because Chalav Akum. I want. This is a story you can't make this up. This is a story that happened. And the truth of the matter is, you have to understand this. But it says in many Sfarim, and people think this is just. It says, here's a point. When you learn in yeshiva, and you learn Torah, and it guides you, Torah guides you. You can take it two ways. You can take it, well, yeah, in the world of Atzilus, over there in the spiritual world, it makes sense. But this world, it doesn't apply. That's one way to take it. This world is not for real. Or you can take this is for real. This is the way it's for real. So here's the point. When you're a Yid, you have a neshama, and you eat Chol Vakum, then D stands for disaster. D, when you're a Yid, and you have a neshama, and you pick up a package, and it has a little symbol or whatever it means, and next to that symbol says a D, it means disaster, it means danger. They're certifying this is dangerous for you. That's the certification. Because Cholav Akum, because it's prohibited by Chachamim, how do you say it's a tempt up, it dulls the sensitivity of a neshama can't feel the holiness that we're supposed to feel. I got to tell a story. This kid that I'm talking about now, the story, his name was Uziel. I had to sitting there. Her father's name, Brother Chaim Tevin, his name was Uziel. I like telling the story because I loved him. I had spent a lot of years with him. This Zayd Uziel told me many stories of his upbringing in Russia and the good old days. The good old days, yeah. So one of the stories he had is that he was a Erlich Yid, and he used to tell his friends of the communism. He was born in 1902, the same year that I was born. And so the communism came in 1917. How old was he? 15, 16, yeah. A lot of his friends got accepted to communism, and they said to him that they threw off the yoke of Torah. So he remained a God-fearing Jew. And he told his friends, out of your mind, you do a mitzvah, you feel like there's a chayus, you feel like we're talking about now, you feel like there's a calmness, you feel like there's a leveligkeit. And his friends would jest him, they would make fun of him, what's Haxting Cup? We do a mitzvah, we feel nothing. What Haxting Cup? He told them, listen, he gave him this following parable. If in those days, electricity was a new thing in Russia. In 1902, you can imagine, 1917, electricity was just a new thing. So you use that as a muscle. If you take your fingers and you put two fingers into a socket, one for the positive, one for the negative, what do you get? A shock. Why? Because you touched wires, and these wires, there's electricity, and if you touch electricity, a human being gets a shock, and his hair stands up on the head, right? What happens if you put on a rubber glove? You insulate yourself. You put on a rubber glove, you put your fingers on the socket. You hold the wires. You feel nothing. Why don't you feel it? The electricity is still there because you insulated yourself. That's what he tells his friends. So guys, listen. You guys are eating treif. You guys are keeping Shabbos. You guys are doing mitzvahs. And then you're coming to me and telling me that mitzvahs, you don't feel nothing. Stop. Start eating kosher. Start eating Shabbos, start keeping Shabbos, and I can see that the mitzvah makes you feel right. You understand the point? The point is, we have a neshama. The neshama has sensitivities and has its feelings that could be very, very powerful. We can feel it. But if you eat foods. You didn't take foods that dull the sensitivity of the neshama. Then you feel, well, I don't feel nothing. Stop eating chalav. So getting back to the story, which is most important. This child, this Ozil, knew that we don't eat chalav, and we told him that we're working with the prison authorities that they should allow Chol Yisrael to come into the prison. So there's a company called Fai's Kosher Ice Cream. They said Chol Yisrael. They're working, and for every reason took months. Anyway, one day, this is where the story breaks out. I'm sitting over. It was a hot summer day, and a guy walks in. Davis helps. The guy walks in. He I guess he didn't know what D stands for. He thought D stands for dairy. And he buys an ice cream for himself and for the guys visiting, and sitting in the little ice cream. And this little boy, was 8.5 years old, and he sees this these two Jews licking ice cream. So his heart jumps right in. He always wants ice cream. It's hot. So he tells him he understood that if Jews are eating ice cream, that means it's holy soul. He didn't realize that these guys eat the disastrous ice cream. So he tugs me. I remember he tugged me at my shirt. I bring it. His tati, they brought in the Chol Yisrael, buy me some ice cream. It's hot. I gave a look at what they're eating, and I realized from the wrappers that it's Chol. So I tell him, Ingela, I'm sorry. I don't know why they're eating it, but they're eating Chol. We eat only Chol Yisrael. We have to wait, and soon they wish to hope the guy will get in there. Mr. Klein himself told us to do it. And he did do it in the end. But this is the story happened in between. Now this kid, it was a hot day, and he couldn't handle it anymore. He didn't buy into the whole story. And he starts, Mendel, has the Meiser, baby. He starts kvetching. I'm hot. I need ice cream. I can't take it anymore. And he starts getting up. He starts walking around. He's sitting down. He's walking up and down. This is a prison. And in the prison, you can't, in the visiting room, they won't ever sit and say, like wooden soldiers, yeah? Because you're walking around, they don't know what you're passing around to each other. So he calls me over the garden and tells me, listen, if you don't get the kid quiet, I'm going to throw you out. I'm going to stop your visit. But to me, a visit was mama's oxygen. So I could have dealt with it two ways, right? You could tell me, listen, the kid is suffering 4 years, his father's at home, his father's in prison, he's at 27-year sentence, who knows when he's ever going to see him. Give him the ice cream. Or, when you really, really believe what it says in Torah is true, I really truly believe that when it says in Torah, we eat food that is not good for you, that dulls your senses for Amunah in Hashem. And B'tachon Hashem, because Amunah really means, Amunah doesn't come from your seichel. Amunah comes from your neshama. So if you're going to dull your senses and you're not going to be able to speak to your child, 1 second, remember David is with us. Just because we go through a hard time doesn't mean David left us. David is still with us, even though we can't see it. It's dark. Amunah means Hashem is with us. B'tachon means that we trust Hashem is going to get us out of this trouble. He's going to help us, even if it's a miracle. That's what B'tachon means. That even though it's supposed to trust Hashem to get you out of the problem, Hashem is the only one that does things. That's not with nature, right? If you want the child to understand that you can't feed him the disaster, right? So I said to him, listen, you can't. So I tried to appeal to him to his logic. I said, listen. I said, listen, Ingela, the God just told me that if you keep on making this broadcast, you're standing up, you're sitting down, you're making sugar, then he'll throw you out. And I don't want to throw you out. I want you to be with us. So wait an hour. Mommy's going to get back to Muncie in an hour. You'll leave. You guys have Muncie. Mom will buy you ice cream. No, he tells me he can't take it. I'm so hot. He has a timer. He has a timer. He's hot. He can't take it anymore. So I figured Seichel doesn't work. I'm going to bribe you. I'll give him a reward. I said, listen, Ingela, if you wait an hour, I'm really 2 ice creams. Mom would buy 2 ice creams. Mom would buy 3 ice creams. No, I can't take it. I need ice cream now. 4 ice creams, 5 ice creams, 6 ice creams. I kept on. I thought he was a businessman. His father was a businessman. And Mela, he's trying to up the reward. I guess 6 ice creams. 6. If you wait an hour, Mommy's gonna buy you 6 ice creams. No, no. He wants ice cream now. Like, you want Mashiach now? You want ice cream now? So I told him, good. I got up to 10, 7, 8, 9, 10 ice creams. He's talking, wait a minute. You have 10 ice creams, he wants it now. He wants Mashiach now. And then the God sees this whole rock is going on. He calls me a second time. One more. He tells me, I'm warning you, one more move, I'm throwing you out of here. I get back to him, I look at him, I don't do with him. I didn't want to leave. So what will you do? Yeah. What will you do? So the answer is, the point, I'm trying to share the story, because when you know who you're talking to a Yiddish child, you're talking to a child that has a neshama. You're not limited to the language of seichel. You're not limited to the language of rewards. You talk to him straight. Talk to him like you're talking to yourself. So I decided I'm going to talk to the neshama. I'm going to talk to him, to who he is. And I said to him, listen, you have 2 choices here. And it worked beautifully. I said, you have 2 choices here. One choice you have here is you could have ice cream right now. No, I didn't really mean that seriously. I never really did. I said, I want to go home. But the point was, I said, and then you'll be happy because you have ice cream, you're hot, you can't take the heat, as you say. You'll be happy. Oh, but the Abraham won't be happy. Another option you have is you can wait an hour, and then your mom will get you ice cream, and then you'll be happy, and the Abraham will be happy. Which one do you want? And this, the pedal of the Masha is, I watched this little kid's face, and this is not shaykh. You can't tell me that I explained it right, I explained it wrong, because he's not shaykh. It's the whole 8.5-year-old kid. It's not shaykh, it's the safe word. When he heard words, if you do it one way, only you're happy. The neighbor's still be happy. If you do the other way, which is uncomfortable, an hour, it's hot, he wants ice cream. But then you'll be happy, and the neighbor's will be happy also. And you watch this little kid when it clicked in his head. What I was talking about, he stopped arguing about ice cream. And I didn't even understand how I'm going to change the subject. And the fella is, he changed the subject by himself. Started talking about some ice. I forgot what it was. He changed the subject. We struggle with ourselves to find Ruyukite. We struggle with ourselves to find how do we talk to ourselves, to our children. And the answer is stop with the seichel. I'm not saying to regard the seichel, because we're Chabad. But that's not the foundation. The foundation is on the neshama. The foundation is that every Yid intuitively knows we have a neshama. Every Yid, I watched this kid, he heard that the Abraham will be happy. He waits an hour, what 10 ice creams couldn't do to get him calm. He got calmed down. Why? Because the Abraham will be happy. And Mitzvah, because he knows the Abraham will be happy, Mitzvah, he's also happy. What is happy? He's still hot. And I want to take it one step further. When we learn the Perek Beis in Tanya, never change the Yisrael come mal mamash. Right? What does that mean? A Yid can really never be happy if the Abraham is not happy. It's not that you have an option. It's impossible for you to be happy if the Abraham is not happy. It's not that tight. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, it's not tight. You have an option that you could do something which is negative. That's not Hashem. This is if you all know Yibas Tammuz really is. We talk about, the Rebbe says by going out, you should know the neshama never went into Golus. What does that mean to know I'm in Golus? My goof is in Golus. What does that mean to know my neshama is in Golus? What does that mean to know? Because we're in Golus now and we can't see the Rebbe. And the Rebbe promised us that we're there actually, and Mashiach is coming. And that's the truth. That's exactly how it is. And then we get hit with these questions, and it's a big question. Years have passed, more than years, many years have passed, and we're still sitting in this miserable golus. But when we know that we're talking about a Rebbe, we're talking about a promise from the Eibishter that he will send Mashiach. Even in the time of concealment, the Eibishter is with us as a monarch. Kerach argued, Kerach's Taina, very interesting. Kerach Taina that all Eden are holy, and therefore we only Meshach Rabbeinu. Different start out Anarchem. All Eden are holy, and therefore we need Anarchem. Who is Anarchem to elevate us? We are self-holy. This is where all sort of start. We need the Rebbe, we need the Mesh, we need Anarchem to elevate us. We have to have the yearning to go higher. The fact that we can't explain 8.5 years in a place called prison, how can you explain why do you want to put on film? Why do you want to get up in the morning and say Tehillim? You weren't answered yesterday, you weren't answered the day before, you weren't answered the week before, you weren't answered the day before. The answers were answered. Every step of the way, every time we do the Eibishter once, we're connected to the Eibishter. That's the Nakuda. And then suddenly, I got to tell you how mine has happened. Suddenly, how this happened the day before the Hashem freed me from prison. The day before, I got a letter from the court, and they told me it's over. The whole legal process is over, and you are going to be stuck in prison for another 18 years. This was. I remember this was Aleph. Stands for Muna. Aleph Tavis. I got this letter. Yeah, I remember opening up this letter and reading it, and these 3 guys signed it. And what comes to your mind? If a Vitava, you can get out, you're stuck. No. When you learn Torah, and you learn what a Muna means, what Dacha means, with explanations from the Rebbe that you are higher than Tava, you realize there's a word. The Rebbe says, "Hashrich al Hashem Yehovchu Yichalach." You ever hear this? You ever? No? I'll tell you. You know, you have? Yeah, something or the other. Hashrich al Hashem Yehovchu Yichalach. We all have needs, and we all have Yehovchu. We all have packages. How much more today? So the Torah says, throw upon the Eibishter your package, and the Eibishter will sustain you. Hashrich al Hashem Yehovchu. So I opened this letter, and the letter says, denied. I know what denied meant. Denied meant to staying in prison for another 18 years. I tasted 8.5 years. So it's not like she's talking to somebody that knows what it is. I don't know what it is. And I've seen what happens to people when they open such letters, they fall into a deep depression. They can't talk to anyone. They go to the psychiatrist, and psychiatrist. Baruch Hashem, I got to say something to you. The reason I'm saying this to you because it's so important. Baruch Hashem, none of my children are psychiatrists. When you talk to your child like a yid, you don't need a psychiatrist. A psychiatrist talks to a person in its human form. Talk to the kid as a yid. I'm not saying there's no place for them. Maybe there's a place for them. Maybe there's not. But the way it's used around in such a like an aspirin, they do to aspirin, they call it Dr. Tomorrow. It's not an aspirin. It's a serious thing. Akaponim, the day before I was freed, I got a letter that said that you're stuck in prison for the rest of 18 years. I'm not a young guy, I'm an older guy. 8.5 years to be a death sentence. You never was outside. You're sitting stuck in a building, and they're telling you you may never see the outside of the world again. Imagine that. And what came to my mind? Sicha Pashas Balak. Pashas Balak. That explains why does the Eibishter say Hashlach Hashem Yehovcha V'Hu Yichal. Eibishter, throw upon the Eibishter your problem, and he will sustain you. Sustaining Yichal Kalach comes from the word Parnasa, which means money, which means food. Not every problem is food. We have problems that are medical problems. People have shidduchim problems. People have legal problems. Have legal problems. They should say, you have a problem. They should help you. Say the more generic. You have a problem, throw the Eibishter. Wonderful. Why they should help you. Why says everything in Torah, the Wuri Chakalacha is hinting to you to a very deep understanding of the Tachan Hashem. The Chakalacha means the Chakalacha has the letters of Keli. Chakalacha tells us Yud, Chof, Lamed, Chof, Lamed, Chof. Chakalacha. The Eibishter will sustain you. Also mean throw upon the Eibishter your problem, your burden, and he will make the Keli for you. What does it mean? The Eibishter wants us to work in the workings of nature. But we are not limited in nature. What happens is if you're working in the workings of nature and the nature says there's no way out of this problem, you're stuck. The doctor said that they can find the refuah. So they can't find it. Basically. You're working up on Rasa and the boss said that you can't have a job. So what happens in a situation where you're trying to make a keli, it doesn't go. So the goyish way of thinking is, of course, you can't make a keli, means you're out of luck. And the Eibishter tells you, Hashech al Hashem, your hovcha, throw upon the Eibishter your problem, your burden, he'll make a keli for you also. When you can't make a keli doesn't mean you can't get help. What it means is strengthen your emunah that the Eibishter is the one that's running everything. So how do you strengthen your emunah? Your emunah, how do you know you strengthen your emunah? When you get closer to Hashem, when you wear your yarmulke antithesis, when you put on tefillin in all cases, when you don't give in to the situation to say here's different. You with the Eibishter, your Eibishter is with you. How do you say Eibishter is with you? How do the Eibishter is with you? Very simple. When you're the Eibishter, the Eibishter is with you. It's not a complicated it's not complicated. When you want with the Eibishter, to do the mitzvah, the Eibishter is with you. It's a very person. So when you give over yourself to the Eibishter, the Eibishter will help you. Kedach argued, I was getting late there, so I have to get this word in here. Kedach argued the main thing, Kedach means dividing. He wants to divide the spiritual world from the physical world. The main thing is Ma'aseh mitzvahs. He said, Kedach argued that guys, let's do a mitzvah. It doesn't make a difference if you have Avos Hashem, it doesn't make a difference if you have Yiras Hashem. The main thing is we do a mitzvah. That's what he said. Why? Because the Ikaz Ma'aseh mitzvahs. And he brought a rai also. The rai, the Eibishter created day number 1, day number 2, the Eibishter made a hebdel between the Ma'ila and Mata. And we're living now in the Shvi, we're living in the physical world, we do a mitzvah, we connect with the Eibishter. Who cares about Giluyim? That was Kev Steiner. So the Eibishter says no. The Eibishter created the second day, the Eibishter created the third day, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 days, right? What happened on the third day? The Eibishter connected. He said that now, in the time, he pulled the water away, and he created a world where the Yid can live in, and now the Yid can connect the Ma'ila Mata. We have to have a yearning to the Eibishter. The Eibishter will help us. That's the one. You can't say maybe we have to have a yearning that we want to be higher. We want to be better. We want to have Avos Hashem, and then we can reveal. That's a Emunah B'tachon. Emunah means, what's Emunah mean? Emunah means that whatever the Eibishter does is good. That's Emunah. What B'tachon mean? That not only the good is what the Eibishter knows is good. The Eibishter will give us a good that we can also see is good. That's B'tachon. So this is exactly the point. The point is, the Eibishter wants us to demand to have a good that we can also see. It's not enough to say, well, we don't understand what's going on, the Eibishter is bigger than understanding, and the Eibishter wants us in Golos, Chas Shalom, and the Eibishter wants, no, the Eibishter wants us to demand Mashiach now. We want to have a good that we can see. If you have a problem with Parnasa, the Eibishter wants us to, we want to have Parnasa. If you have a problem with legal, I will go home. So when they open this letter, means even though I can't find a way in nature to make, because they told me it's over, the legal process is over, But don't buy into the fact that the courts are in charge. Don't buy the fact that nature is in charge. You have to understand you're a Yid and you can through your betachon, you're able to change nature. So what happens is I took a piece of paper, threw it in, and the very next day, the very next day, Hashem made it, and I got thrown out of it. Aleph Beis Gimel. Aleph is I got the letter. Beis it 6 minutes before Shkia. I was Chanukah. The door opened up, and the guy tells me it's interesting. They never walked into the sun. And Rubashkin, get out. It's wonderful. Get out. Where am I going? He wouldn't tell me anyway. They brought me into a different office, a different building, and the head office, the warden was there, and she reads from a piece of paper. She says, "The President of the United States of America just signed your clemency, and you're a free man to go home." This is from day to day. Can you imagine? It's not something there. Day before, I was told. This is the Keich of Yid. That's what we're trying to tell you. This Keich of Yid. It's not a personal story that we're Farbrengen tonight. It's not a story of one person. This is a story we all can tie into. This comes from Gimmel Tammuz, comes from Yibes Tammuz. It comes from understanding who we are. We're Yidden. We have a neshama. We're connected to Eibush with Teda mitzvahs. What's a mitzvah? Mitzvah Sasur Chibur. Never say that because I'm in a situation that's not exactly right, therefore I can get away without doing a mitzvah. A mitzvah is an opportunity to let Hashem. What are you looking for a way to get out of it? You should do the mitzvah properly. And this is after this way. Right? You know, this Hashem one of the Kudim sing a song. What does it mean? It means everybody always gets stuck in the world of Tammuz. They tell you, what are you working so hard? Tammuz. They wants me to do Tammuz. They wants to do Tammuz. They doesn't want you to work so hard. They doesn't want you to miss a minute. They doesn't want you to stop learning. They doesn't want you to Tammuz. Make a keli, right? So the mice I want to share with you like this. When I never said to myself that there was a time Pesach, Pesach was like Pesach the Chalik, how many months? 8 months, yeah. I was in the cell, and they told me that you have to get the guy I was with, he left. So I was there myself. They made 2 people in this one cell. And they told me that I have to find somebody else. Now, yes, I was a very special needs guy. I had special needs because I had to daven in the morning and I had to make sure there's no sneeze in the room. All these guys over there, it's hot. They get half undressed on the beach. They put up bad pictures. So Shabbos, you can't have a guy turn a light for you on Shabbos, you know. If a guy walks into your room, turns the light for you on Shabbos, if it's for you, you have to walk out of the room. Yeah, you didn't know that. Now you know it. Now in prison, it's a simple problem when the door's locked. So the guy puts on the light, you can't walk out the other guy. And to avoid this problem, I used to make up with these guys that I was with. I said to them, listen, I'm Jewish, and do me a favor, let's sleep with the light on. You know the favors over there. And the wonder, miracles is that for 8.5 years, I always found somebody. The Eibush always presented somebody who was willing to put up with it. So I slept with every Shabbos and Yom Tov, we slept with the light on. And we put a undershirt or something on the eyes to make sure it's a little darker, and we slept. This is how you figure out a problem. Not like what I do, I have no choice. I'll do it. God will forgive me. Yeah, for sure forgive you. I mean, you're missing out on the connection. You see what I'm talking about? Anyways, so this happens on Pesach. Nisan Iyar 7 Tammuz of El Tishrei Cheshvan Kislev. 9 months before the baby is born. Says Chanukah tapes. Says Chanukah, 9 months later I'm free. They tell me that the guy who left, and the guy, they tell me you have a choice. Either you're going to pick a guy you're going to be with, or we're sending somebody in. Now here's the choice. The choice is simple. If you're going to pick somebody else, pick yourself somebody, you can handle with it. You can have a deal, yeah? No lights on Shabbos, lights on Shabbos, no opposite sneers in the room, right? So for 7 years it was going good, and now the 8th year, I couldn't find anybody. They should maybe a test. So I decided if I can't find somebody, then who says the guy that's sending me that's not going to be good? They should send me the right guy. They should make the kid also, right? That's what it means. Live. That if you're learning an idea in Chassidus, and you learn an idea in Torah, don't think it's an idea up there in the sky. This is for real. So my friends over there say, "Out of your mind, you're crazy. If they send you, if you're gonna find somebody, you're gonna find somebody who's if no, you can live with. If not, they can send you somebody, a murderer, who knows what. They'll be a very tough guy. He won't do anything. So why don't you just settle and do less?" I said, "I'm not settling nothing. I have to live like a yid. If I can't find a person, they some the right guy." So here's the point of the story. The second day, the first day Pesach, Tavshin Ayin Zayin. The first day Pesach, walks in a guy called Tom. And who is he? He has I'm not saying he's a murderer, but he had a murder case. Of all people, murder case. Wonderful guy. Mustache. He walks in and he says, "Hi, they sent me here to be with you." He looks around and he sees the scotch tape on the switch, the scotch tape. He asks me, "What's this?" I said, "Look, my boy." He said, "He's been in prison for 20 years. I don't know if you ever saw a Jew, he lives in the West. First." Anyway, I said, "Listen, Tom, I'm a Jewish guy, and on the holidays, we can't turn the lights on and off. So I put tape on it, so you shouldn't put it off. Maybe if you don't mind, let's leave it light on." This was his welcoming committee. So this is not a place for favors. Nobody. She looks at me and he says, "No problem. I'll put it on for you. If you can't do it, I'll do it for you." Then I said, "That's exactly the problem. Because if you do it for me, I gotta walk out. I can't have you. I can't have them." The trouble is, he agrees. He agrees that fine. Okay, I'll leave the light on. Rabbi, no problem. Okay. Then we talk for about an hour, and then it comes time. It's time to go get some food to eat. So I say to him, "Tom, you want to eat? By the way, I got to tell you, today's Passover. Passover, Jews don't eat cereal, and they don't eat bread, and they don't eat macaroni and rice. If you don't mind, maybe you shouldn't bring any food into the room." In fact, I take a pillow throw my head. And the simplicity, I had the chutzpah to even ask him for that. Okay, I was going with this thing. The teva came like I eat. So I said to him, "Maybe you don't mind, and you should not bring in food for how long it has for the next 7 days." So anyway, the mess is, he says, "Fine, he'll eat outside for 7 days." So then they tell him, I said, "Tom, another thing I gotta tell you, I used to get up every morning at 4:30, and I used to say to him, I say the whole time every single day. You know why? I first want to go home." I said to him, "Say the whole time every single day. 4:30, I get up and say the whole time before davening. And this guy's trying to sleep. And this is a little room that's, there's no sound barriers. This is cinder block, and this, he's trying to sleep. So I said to him, "Tom, you should not get up in the morning, I pray, hope it doesn't bother you." He says, "Rabbi, no problem, do what you want." So I get up in the morning, 4:30, second day Pesach. So I said to him, I try to be a little lower because you shouldn't freak out on me. And suddenly I hear him, I say, "Hey, Rabbi, I don't hear you." "I don't hear you." So I said, "I realize he's up." I said, "Tom, I'm trying to say hello. She shouldn't wake you up." She says, "Don't worry, you're not waking me up, you're putting me to sleep." I thought he's joking. So I kept thinking, quite on. You wanted after me to say it, and the right to say it. So, what's the point? This guy, this Tom, if I thought they blessed me, they blessed me. The first 7 years with guys that would put up with my Shabbos and put up with davening and with sneers and all things. He was more respectful to Yiddishkeit than anybody else, and I didn't find him. They didn't find him. That's the point. So having gone through, keep your eyes open. Keep your eyes open. You'll see how many brachas Hashem gives you. So the next time you have a challenge, don't think you're not alone. David, where's David? You've never been alone. David's with you in this situation. David's with you. David's in that situation. You're having a challenge now. It's Gimmel Tammuz, and it seems like Mitamol is dark. Remember the Gimmel Tammuz where it started. Remember that light. Remember all the good Hashem gave you. And then understand that the darkness you're looking at is not there because it's not a true concealment. It's really a concealment to reveal the essence, like we started talking about tonight. The Eibishter, when we go through a darkness, it's not to Hashem hurt us. The Eibishter wants us. Look at it this way. How many times we talk about Hashem loves us like a parent? Hashem is our father. Hashem is our father in heaven, right? And Hashem loves us as a father unconditionally. Hashem's love for us is unconditional, right? Because it's not based on how smart we are parents. And our love for our children is not based on how smart the child is. It's not based on how warm and nice and kind the child is. It's my child. And that's why I feel close to him. And that's the same thing we say to Eibishter. It's not how much mitzvah Eibishter loves me essentially, right? But the essence. So, but it has to work backwards also. Hashem wants us sometimes to show that our love to Hashem is not based on how much goodies He's giving us. And even in a time where it seems dark, we say to Hashem, first of all, I have a munah, that's it for Hashem. That's the tree. The man says a munah means that's a tree from where the comes with office. So the Eibishter wants us to say to him the same language. I'm with you no matter what. You're my father. Things are happening to me I don't understand. But because you're my father, I know that whatever is happening is good. Now, the Eibishter wants it the same way the Eibishter wants to deal with Achteinu. The Eibishter wants to deal with Achteinu, which should be with Teva Nigla. The Eibishter can't hide that they can be dealing with Achteinu without Teva Nigla. It doesn't have to be revealed good. The Eibishter wants that. The Eibishter says no. If you do a mitzvah, it has to be big, it has to be revealed good. That's it, right? What was Kerech Stein? Kerech Stein was that since why are you elevating yourself on the Eibishter, on the Kaddish? The Eden are essentially holy. So the Eibishter says, Baker reason. The Eibishter wants us not only to do a mitzvah, it should be a lichtike mitzvah. A mitzvah is like a diamond. Every mitzvah you do is a diamond. Every mitzvah is a question of Hashem. A diamond could be a diamond in mud, or it could be a diamond that's set in a beautiful stone. When you do a mitzvah, and the mitzvah is without the proper thoughts, you're doing a mitzvah, you're thinking about something else. You're doing a mitzvah, and you're not thinking the right time as Hashem. So the mitzvah is there, the diamond is there, but it's covered in mud. The Eibishter wants a lichtike mitzvah. The Eibishter wants a mitzvah. Dirib Dachtene means to the Eibishter. It should be a dirib for a latzmusay. It should be a lichtike, a place where the aspects can be revealed. That's the Eibishter wants. Does not want us just to prove that Hashem exists everywhere. Hashem wants us that Hashem's goodness should be revealed. And that's actually, if you think about it, that's bitachon. It's not enough for us to have a munah that whatever Hashem does is good. Even when it actually looks bad, Hashem wants us to trust Him to reveal the good. Hashem wants us to believe Mashiach is coming. Hashem wants us to demand Mashiach is coming. Hashem wants us not to settle for just that David knows what's happening and David knows whatever David knows is good. And it's not our power to do that. That's the point. When we start thinking, we are okay with whatever Hashem does, we're missing the point. Betachon happens to be an obligation. Betachon is not just a good idea. Betachon happens to be a chiyuv. Betachon is a David that wants us when a person goes to a tzara and everything's going wrong. And everything looks dark, and the doctor's giving a terrible prognosis, and the boss has fired you. Everything looks like that. The Eibishter wants you to trust him that he will give you the health you need and give you the money you need. Whenever the Eibishter is good, that's not enough. The Eibishter wants a good that we can also see is good. Translate that in everyday life. It's not enough just to believe that Hashem runs the world. Hashem wants a world that it can be seen as a good. Hashem is good, Hashem is kind, and we're enjoying Hashem's kind. That's when Mashiach comes. So Hashem wants us to trust Him that will be a real good. So that's our job. How do we do it? Just to finish up over here, we'll sing a few songs. How do we do it? We do it by Mesiras Nefesh. When we do a mitzvah, in many Gimmel Tammuz, he says that when we do a mitzvah with Mesiras Nefesh, it's not only enough to do a mitzvah out of rote, out of that's what we decided is a good thing to do. You have to do a Mesiras Nefesh, Mesiras Ratzon. We have to give ourselves over to the Eibishter, that whatever it is, it can't be any different, even if it makes no sense. The idea that it has to make sense, we got so caught up in our own Dirib Tachtenim argument that the world can accept godliness that we forgot that the Eibishter is hiding in the logic. We are Yidden. The Eibishter is hiding in understanding. The Eibishter is hiding in logic. We have to work on that. When do we show it? That's in the time when we don't want to do something, when we don't feel like it, when it doesn't really work right, when it's so dark. And then we say, we are going to do the mitzvah anyways. We're going to wear a yarmulke, we're going to wear tzitzis, we're going to put on tefillin, we're going to show the Eibishter no matter what, we're connected to Him. We're going to show Hashem. Our connection to Hashem is essential. And we don't care about anything else. That's when we connect. Because Hashem's connection to us is essential. And we show our connection to Hashem is essential. And then that hidden good becomes revealed, as the Alter Rebbe says. It's up to us. When we understand that the hidden good is good, that itself reveals the good that we need. L'chaim, everybody. Let's sing a few songs and warm ourselves up. And everybody's falling asleep. And not really. But I'm just making a joke. Everybody's very inspired. We should take the inspiration from the Farbrengen and inspire ourselves. That we get up in the morning, we're not going to look at the limitations of the world because we know we're Yidden. We're not looking at the limitations of the world because the Eibishter empowers us to change the world. We're able to stop the sun. We're able to show the world that the neshama is not in Golus. This is what it's all about.
Singing Nigel without a mic, and then we'll continue.
Go! Forgive me. No, come on! I once sitting in the class talking about mitzvahs. You know, Chavre. look at a mitzvah. A mitzvah means a commandment, right? A mitzvah also means safsur chibur. It also means connection. If every mitzvah you do, you view it as an opportunity to connect to the Eibishter, suddenly the one that every mitzvah comes by your way. It won't be a difficulty. If I got to be excitement. And this thing it's important to talk about it now because we have to generate energy for Mashiach's coming. So we have to. I want to share with you an interesting thought. Which Rebbe explains about Chis HaMesim. The Rambam lists out 13 cardinal. I don't know cardinal is a bird. You know, is a red bird. Cardinal. 13 important mitzvahs that without that, in order for you to be considered a Jewish person, a Maimon, a believer in Hashem, you have to believe in these 13 beliefs. So, for example, you have to believe that Hashem is unlimited. He has no shape or form. He's not something physical, right? You have to believe that Torah comes from heaven. You have to believe Moshe Rabbeinu is a true prophet. You have to believe that there's an idea of reward and punishment. You have to believe that Torah is from heaven. You have to believe in even the Mashiach, because until Mashiach comes, we can't do mitzvahs properly. And amazingly, the 13th belief that every Jew, if he wants to be considered Jewish, as a Maimon, as a believer, as part of the fold, part of the faith, he has to believe in Tchias HaMesim. He has to believe in that the dead will come alive. So if you're listening to this, if you're listening to this, you're not sleeping, you have to have a question in your mind that goes something like this. Now, in Mela, have to believe God's unlimited. That's a very important belief in Emunah Hashem. To believe that Hashem has no physical features, and this is limitation, I believe in the reward and punishment, I can understand. To believe that Torah from heaven, I understand. Believe Moshe is the true prophet, I can understand. To believe that Hashem communicates with human beings, I have to believe. Even to believe in Mashiach, I have to believe, because when Mashiach comes, then we can do all sorts of the mitzvahs. But why does every Jew have to believe in Tchias HaMesim? So, what's Tchias HaMesim? Tchias HaMesim means we believe that when Mashiach comes, all the people, all our babis and our zaydis and our fathers that have passed away will suddenly awake and they'll rise, exactly how they passed away, they'll be alive. Hashem will make this tremendous miracle that the dead will arise and live again, right? So the question, obvious question, if you're breathing and living human being, you have to ask yourself, because questions are encouraged in Judaism. You have to ask yourself, why is belief in Tchias HaMesim so important to be a Jew? Why can't I keep Shabbos? I believe Hashem is unlimited. I believe in the reward of punishment. I believe I keep Yom Tov, I keep kosher, I keep. I believe that after I be Jewish, even if I believe that after 120 years, the soul ascends, Tammuz, the soul ascends, and then it lives a happily ever after in the garden of Eden. What's wrong with that? Let's say it's wrong. Why does the Rambam spell out that it's fundamentally important for every Jew to believe in Tchias HaMesim? And if you don't believe in Tchias HaMesim, you miss the whole point. You're keeping kosher, and you're keeping Shabbos, and you're keeping everything else is not sufficient. Obviously, it's good, but you don't have all 15 articles of faith. You miss Tchias HaMesim. It's an interesting question, no? Why is Tchias, in short, why is Tchias HaMesim a Yesod in Amunah? It's not true. If you don't believe Tchias HaMesim in the beginning called us, it's a mistake. Not to believe Tchias HaMesim is a mistake. No question about it. But why does the Rambam demand it to be part of our foundation and faith in Hashem? That's the question. You understand? What's so important? Why is belief in Tchias HaMeisim so important for us as Jewish people? And if you're missing the belief in Tchias HaMeisim, it's like you're not keeping Shabbos. Right? Why? I'm keeping Shabbos. And I believe that the Shabbos stays in the lady stuck over there. And the Mason won't get up. I'm wrong, but why is it? And the answer is because this is the point. The belief in Tchias HaMeisim is like this. We talked about the whole purpose of creation is to make this world a dwelling place for Hashem. Which means the connecting of the upper world and the lower world. Keirach, this was Pasha. He wanted to drive a wedge. He wanted to say this world is it without the upper world. This world is when we do a mitzvah, we bring down the holiness of the upper world into this world. And therefore, we change the physical attributes of this world. When we daven in the morning, ourselves, our own bodies, our own physical surroundings, and from there on further, we are bringing the Shekhinah into our home. We daven. When we can do something on the humane side that we decide, no, we're not going to do it. We're going to turn a shir learning. We're going to do a mitzvah. We'll overcome the darkness of the Golos, and we'll bring shir down here. So what's happening? We are we're connecting this world with the upper worlds. With Hashem, since Hashem is Ein Sof, Hashem is eternal, so whatever is connected with Hashem is also eternal. The answer is simple. If you don't believe in Tchias HaMeisim, means you don't believe in the idea that the physical world is connected with Hashem. That what you're doing is actually important. When you're taking tefillin, you're putting on your arm, the physical tefillin, that your arm becomes now a connecting with Hashem. When your heart and your brain is connected to Hashem. When you're keeping Shabbos, you're bringing the Shekhinah, the sight, the Kedusha Shabbos into this world, into your whole home. To yourself, time with yourself. That's what Tchias HaMeisim means. What Tchias HaMeisim. Anything that's connected with Hashem is eternal. So therefore, it's because the goal still exists, there comes a time when a person will pass away, and you don't see the yichud le'ilam vod that happens. We do a mitzvah, you connect with Hashem forever. Now, in time and space, it's limited. Until now, when you pass away, you don't see it. But there has to come a time when that eternal bond that you made with Hashem, with your body, comes exposed. And that's what the Rambam is telling you. The Rambam is telling you that your belief in Tchias HaMeisim means, and that's why it's a cardinal point in Yiddishkeit. The most important point in Yiddishkeit has to be that what we do in our physical life brings Kedusha into this world, which translates itself that therefore there will be Tchias HaMeisim. Tchias HaMeisim is actually a byproduct of our connection, because when we do a mitzvah, we're connecting our body with Hashem. When we're keeping kosher, when we're keeping Shabbos, when we're learning Torah, with our minds and our hearts, we are connected with the Eibush, so eternal, and therefore that eternity expresses itself in Tchias HaMeisim. And this is what, even though physically it comes to a point, Gimmel Tammuz is a time where externally it looks like there's been a gap here. But all the mitzvahs and all the connections, all the Torah that ever has spoken, all the mitzvahs that ever till today, that ever is inspiring the shluchim, inspiring all Yidden to do a mitzvah, to connect to the Eibush, that ever's words are being learned, that ever's mitzvahs are being done. This all connects us with the Eibush. And this all brings what we're waiting for. It all brings the Mashiach, Tzidkenu. And this is why Tchias HaMeisim becomes a foundation in our faith. Because it's not just the Tchias HaMeisim that's nice, that will come a time the parent that we love so much will see him again. It's wonderful, Tchias. It's good. But it's more than that. Why will we see him again? Because apparently we had the mitzvahs and he connected the Eibishter. We created a world that's Kedusha. So every time you have a mitzvah, wherever you are, when you're living in a place called prison, it's not tight because you wrap it all up. It's not tight because you're living through a quarantine, and you're living through a difficulty, you're living through adversity, you're living through problems. Something went wrong. Nothing went wrong. The whole story with Keirach, where Keirach had to rebel against Moshe Rabbeinu, right, was in order, so through this Maisa, it should come the presence we give to the Keirach. Every necessity we have, every challenge we have, is the purpose is to bring out a deeper connection with Hashem. That's in short. So this is what we're going through today. Nothing to get lost about. Emunah means whatever happened until now, we understand it with a Emunah Pshuta, that's Gamzul Teva. We understand everything's an Eibishter. B'tochen means we trust Hashem to take us out of our problem. We trust Hashem 8.5 years. Every day I got up in the morning, I thanked Hashem for yesterday, and we trusted Him that today He's taking me out, and the day came, He took me out. That's the point. We have to continue understanding that whatever happened until now is Gamzul Teva. But today, Hashem wants us to trust Him. He's being Mashiach, He takes us out of Golus, and we'll again be in Yerushalayim. We'll be able to do all what's in Yerushalayim. We'll be able to do all the mitzvahs. We'll be able to connect Hashem with all 630 mitzvahs in every fiber of our being. We're able to see Tchias HaMeisim, all the mitzvahs for 2,000, 3,000 years of Golus that we did with the Mesilas Nefesh, with all the blood and all the tears that Jews have shed all these years, and not for nothing. Everything one is saved. Every ounce of Kedusha will be revealed, because every time a Yid did a mitzvah, every time a tear was dropped, was an eternal connection with Hashem, and that's what's revealed when Mashiach comes. And that's why Tchias HaMeisim becomes one of the 13 articles. After you think about it, we believe in Tchias HaMeisim. Why? Because we believe that when a Yid, physical Yid, does a mitzvah, his body becomes connected with Hashem. His house becomes connected with Hashem. His city becomes connected with Hashem. In New Haven, when we sit in the night of Farbrengen, this shul becomes connected with Hashem. It's eternalized. And that's what Tchias HaMeisim means. So Mashiach comes, so that what we don't see right now will be revealed. The Chaim, everybody, maybe should help us. That we should go from this Farbrengen with Achlotas Tevis. You can't finish a Farbrengen without Achlotas Tevis. What Achlotas Tevis? The first thing we should make a resolution in our minds. The Rebbe gave us, first of all, the Chitas. Chitas means to learn every single day, Chumash, to say Tehillim and learn Tanya. It comes every increasingly easier, but today you have Chayenu, you have different qualifications that help you with it. And this is, we want to connect with the Rebbe. He spoke about how the Rebbe lights upon the Shama. We want to connect with the Rebbe, we want to do what the Rebbe asks us to do. What the Rebbe asks us to do, the Rebbe for himself, the Rebbe for himself. We will learn Chumash, and we'll finish Rashi. And then we learn Ashikol Tanya, and then we say Tehillim. That is fulfilling one of the Rebbe's requests. So we should make a resolution. What happened till now is wonderful, less than wonderful. But from now on, we're going to start doing Tchitas every single day. And if it's hard for us, the Baruch said before, you have this Chayenu thing, or you have anything, you have in your house. Then you have Rambam. One of the novelties that ever came out that asked us to do is to learn Rambam. What's Rambam? Rambam means going through every commandment in the Torah over a year's time or 3 years' time, whichever level you're on. But either you learn the mitzvahs, you learn the Rambam itself. The idea to make yourself knowledgeable, to understand the 630 mitzvahs. The text of Hashem. It says that every single mitzvah, every single commandment is in relation to every one of our fibers of our being. The person has 630 fibers of his being, every mitzvah connects us with that fiber with Hashem. So amazingly, nobody came up with this. The Rebbe explains us when we learn the Rambam goes to every single one, every single mitzvah.
Someone just said that Chayenu's app is free.
There you go.
Subscription.
So you should. It's a subscription is free.
For 2 months if you sign up.
So you should. That's one of the conclusions should be from the Farbrengen. We want to connect with Hashem to say the mitzvahs, and we should conclude. Let's start learning Chitas every single day. If we can't do Rambam, we should learn the mitzvahs every single day. It's amazing. Just learn every single mitzvah. 1 mitzvah, 2 mitzvah, 5 mitzvah, every day. Over a year, you've reviewed every mitzvah in the Torah. And you'll be amazed how much tranquility and how much bracha brings into your life. So that should be the hachlotas, and obviously the hachlotas should be that we should keep on demanding that we can't take this goals anymore. We need Mashiach now. Why? Because like we started the Farbrengen. We started Farbrengen with the essential being that we can't, when something is taken from us, it touches our essence, we can't exist. We can't exist without Mashiach. We can't exist without seeing the Rebbe. We can't exist without being complete with the Beis Hamikdash. We can't, this is what Gimel Tammuz is. It was taken away from us. We can pass by Gimel Tammuz and think to ourselves, like the poor person, it was nice when we had it, now we're missing it, so it's gone. No, we have to be like the rich man. Remember we started out the Farbrengen. The rich person is somebody who's totally connected with his we're totally connected with Eibishter. And when we're taken away, when Eibishter takes away something, we can't live without it. We cry at Mosai, we want Mashiach now, we can't wait, we need Agula. And today everybody's in that situation. Everybody agrees. Nobody's arguing the fact that we can't take it anymore, we need Mashiach now. And we should ask the Eibishter, and the Eibishter is good. The Eibishter is a loving father. The Eibishter gives us what we ask him. We have to ask him. The Eibishter wants us to ask him. We want Mashiach now, and we don't want to wait. We want Mashiach, we want Mashiach now. We want Mashiach, we want Mashiach now. We want Mashiach, Mashiach now.
Hallo, 5 PM? No? 5:18. You said 5 AM. I was 5:18, man. We want Mashiach, Mashiach now. Oh, yeah.
Okay, Yashika, joining us. Thank you for joining us, and we will hopefully meet again at the next event. Sei gesund and Mashiach now.
My God, Hashem, how great that Keduyim Marav. When you see it's such a great world, so many different, such multitudes of creation, you come to the realization that Eibishter is Mamash himself. So what do you have to look for? Avos Hashem, Yidah Hashem, do the mitzvah. How do you call him names? I don't know. I'd have to call them names, but to a certain degree, we bought into the same argument. Why? Because anytime you argue, say that this is the world of nature, the Eibishter wants a stadlus, and it has to come through this way. That's Kedach. That's Kedach. What's he saying? He's saying that the Eibishter created a teva, and you are forced to conform in the words of teva. You can't break out of it because the Eibishter created a teva. Yeah, the Meraglim argue the same thing. He Kedach divides. Kedach doesn't give Kedach divides between when a person has a yearning to cry. I want to see godliness. I want to have where's Avos Hashem, where's Yiras Hashem. I don't have the same feelings now. I can't stand with Farbrengen. I can't hear words from the Rebbe. I can't inspire myself. I have inspiration. Kedach comes with inspiration for. You do mitzvah. Cool. The main thing is mitzvah maisis. And the Rebbe said that. The Rebbe said, you see a Jew put on film with him. Because the main thing is mitzvah maisis. But you didn't, you stopped. You forgot to say that the Eibishter wants a mitzvah maisis that's lichtig. He wants a mitzvah maisis that has with the Avos Hashem. You have to look through this. You have to inspire yourself. If you're going to just do mitzvah maisis, you're going to wind up soaked into the world of nature. You're going to forget about God. You're going to spiral down. That's what happened. That's why part of the punishment was Blia. You got sucked down into the world. That's because that was their argument. The argument was, we don't need to have the Avos Hashem that Adonai Cain gives. Adonai Cain, they came to fight Adonai Cain. What was Adonai Cain doing? Adonai Cain was he was infusing the Yidden with the Avos Hashem to his level. He said, listen, guys, I don't need that. Adonai Cain is a holy man. Let him stay in his holiness. You guys, everybody here has the neshama. Right? Well, the neshama. So we're all good. We're cool. Where did he go wrong? Because that's what Moshe an incident. He says to him, Baker, but it comes like David wants a mitzvah that's infused with Ahava. He wants a lifted mitzvah. David wants a Gilu Dikatei. When Mashiach comes, see, Kedach was ahead of his time. When Kedach view the world, when Mashiach comes, we'll see that only Atzmos can create the world, and we'll see the beauty of Atzmos. But till then, if you're only going to be involved with this world, we'll get sucked down into the world. That's what's going to happen. If you don't have the desire and cry out to Hashem, we want to have Avos Hashem, then you get sucked down into the world. And you see that. Everything can be treated Amunah B'tochen. Amunah B'tochen is actually, what's the difference in Amunah B'tochen? Amunah means that you have pure faith that everything's from Hashem. And because everything's from Hashem, therefore, everything is good. So even though something happens to me that's not good, I purely believe Gam Zulu Tev, and it's for true. For real. It's not just you're convincing yourself, it's for real. Okay? What does it mean? That there will be a good, and not only that Hashem knows is good, that I can also see is good. That's not a contradiction. Whatever happened until now, I have a wonderful truth that is from the Eibishter. From now on further, the Eibishter wants me to trust him to give me a good that I can all see. And really, that's what the Eibishter wants. The Eibishter doesn't want you to settle on Amunah. The Eibishter wants a world that we can see his goodness. The Eibishter wants a world that not only etzem, he wants to see a world that it's alive. You see the beauty of Rettlichkeit. Which therefore, if you want to see the beauty of Rettlichkeit, Adonai Cain, You need to have an infusion of Alis Chasanedis. You have to have the infusion of the spirituality that our leaders give us. We can't do it on our own because ourselves we are down here. We need an infusion from our Nasim. We need an infusion from our Rebbe. That's where the mistake was. Another thing, the Rebbe explains a very interesting question. How does it be? Kedach argued. This is a question. It's good to know. Kedach argued unity. His argument was, hey, everybody is holy. Yeah. Everybody is holy, and why are you elevating yourself above them? Okay. So Kedach came with the argument of unity. Yet Kedach represents the epitome of machlikas, of division. How does an argument of unity turn into the total? Huh?
Going about it the wrong way.
What was the mistake?
He's saying, why are you holding yourself above everybody else instead of asking, why aren't you picking up everybody else to be at your level?
Okay, but how does the argument of unity turn into division? How does that's correct. But the Cheder, he was arguing a very, very populist argument. Everybody is holy, everybody has a neshama, everybody has a Cheder Kama Mamish. So why you have to pick everybody up?
From a yid, how can he think that the Jews will be united?
So his adversary is Shalom's. Oh, here it goes. Kedach was a pickach. Kedach was a smart fellow. He saw unity as it was in its source. In its source, as we sit in our source, everybody has Avachal Kolonna, all one. And therefore, this world was created with Asar Mamoris. The world you live in was created with 10 utterances, meaning Hashem created a world which each being has its place in its performance. So fakert, in the world we live today, it's dafke. Every person is limited to performance that brings out unity, not the unit, not the scream the way it's in the source. Because imagine a body. What's the ultimate in unity? We say everybody's part of a body. The head functions, and the heart functions, and the hands function, the feet function. Imagine the heart decides it wants to become a hand, and the hand decides it wants to become a heart. Right? So you have death. You can't exist. If the world was created with Maimer Echad, with the revelation with one Maimer, they have a point. But since the world was created, everybody has to serve Hashem in its way. When the head acts like a head, and the heart acts like a heart, and the hands act like a hand, and the feet, then you have unity. His mistake was he tried to bring in the world that's created with each one in its own definitive position as it's in a source. He was ahead of his time. He saw the world as a Mashiach. But as it's today, you can't have that. You have. That explains the same thing you see today, that people want to drag in the idea of making women rabbis and making women edim and making women take that in mechitzas. Akert. He brings a Valdik Moshe. He says, yeah, fire and water. Putting fire and water harnesses the tremendous power of electricity, etc. But only when you put a division between them. When fire is in this place, and water in this place, and you put a mechitza, each one maintains its position, each one helps each other to create the steam that you need to create electricity. But you take away the mechitza, you take away the division, fire and water, we're all created from one God, and everybody's equal. Then the fire extinguishes the water burns out the fire extinguishes the water, or the fire, the water extinguishes the fire burns out the water. You understand? So fakert, because we live in a world, the Kudah is, we live in a world that was created with Asar Mamoris. We live in a world that's created each one in its own position. When do you have real peace? When each one performs its metzius. When each tries to be like a goy, or a goy tries to be like a yid, then you make a bilbo. You make a bilbo in the whole Seir Sashlis. And that creates problems. That's the point. Kedach, argument of unity, was the way unity is at its source. But we live in a world in Geluyim. We live in a world that has a source, that Eibishter created the world, this Maimon is here, and this Maimon is here, and this Maimon is here. And if you take away each person, then you have forget. You have Hafach Shalom. You have this unity. It's a forget, but we understand who we are. We are Yidden. We have a neshama. We are not to be. So many times, the problem we have. So many times we are expected. People want us to take the chokhmah of goyim, how it applies to the world, apply to ourselves. We're not there. We are holy beings. We are Yidden. We have neshama. You can't understand us if you don't look into the Torah. If you don't look into the Torah and understand who Yid is, you'll never understand who we are. You can't go. You go to a psychiatrist. What's a psychiatrist going to tell you? They tell you the real psychiatry, how feelings, whatever it is, whatever they tell you. But Yid has a whole different makeup. Right? We want to bring peace, do a mitzvah. Connect with Eibush, the bit of Veteranui. He becomes calm. You could be this is the Mamash. You live in a world called prison. Around you is a cheshach. If you're connected to Eibush, so you're not there. You're living in the Shama. You're not someone be you, but you're basically Will Thomas is coming around. I got to tell you a story about you, but the Tukva is a famous story, but also in this context. We all know the story that the Rebbe Rayatz was brought into a room. I saw these rooms. I went to it's a very overbearing. You bring a room. Nobody held a gun against me, you know. But it's still it's an overbearing. You get called to a room. Two guys sitting over there asking questions. You know, so everybody else just called the room. Famous story, and the interrogation room. And the officers are trying to get information out from the Rebbe about his mason. They want to know who his teachers are, who is all. They wouldn't give any information. So the guy the interrogator opens his drawer, takes out a gun, and points it at the Rebbe. And he says, "It's a famous story. You ever tell you something new here, guys?" He tells the Rebbe, "This little toy made a lot of people change their minds." You ever heard the story? So the Rebbe looked at him and says to him, "This little toy can threaten or can scare somebody who has one world and two gods. But somebody who has one God and two worlds doesn't threaten." Am I saying anything new? You heard the story, right? You heard the story?
That's how it's said.
Okay. Now.
Well, maybe you experienced it.
Yes, sit down, man.
Okay.
But
I'm listening.
The Mele, he told him, this world, you can only scare somebody who has one world. If the guy has one world, and a gun is pointing at him, and you're going to kill him, he loses this world, he lost everything. Scares him. If you have two worlds, you have a backup. You get shot here, you have a world on the other side. It's not so scary. But the Rebbe said something more. The Rebbe said that somebody who has one God is not afraid. Somebody who has two gods is afraid. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? That's not poetic. When I heard it, I was proud that Rebbe gave me an answer. You have two gods. And one world, you're afraid. You have one God. And two worlds, you're not afraid. Come on, that's not poetry here. Why, if you have two gods, the same way if you have one world, you're afraid. The same way if you have two gods, you're afraid. It works together. If you have two gods, and you have one world, that makes you afraid. So one world, I understand. If you have one world, and a guy is threatening you to take away from you out of this world, you're afraid. If you have two worlds, you're not afraid. But why, if you have two worlds, you're afraid? If you have one world, you're not afraid. How does that work? And this is the need for the Munah. What does it mean, two gods? This is the Rebbe says something. It's very deep. But the Rebbe is teaching you, he's telling you this. If you're a person that has two gods, then what's two? Why two? People have many gods. They have a god of rain, they have a god of snow, they have a god of this. Anything you can't explain, they have a god. The Indians, they have a that god, a god of wind. Yeah, what's this two gods? Two gods means people neatly divide what happens to them in their life into two. Good things and bad things. Two gods. You have the good God who does good things. And you have the bad God who does bad things. Bad things happen to you, oh, that's a bad God. Good thing happens, yes, the good God. The devil. The devil is a shachter. Yeah? That makes you afraid. If you have one God, if you believe in two gods, and you're doing something, it's a good. You're doing, the Rebbe is working on making a first man chutza, and he's making chadorim. It's a good. KGB, and puts a going on him, and he says to him, if you don't talk, I'm going to shoot you. If you believe in two gods, a good God, bad things happening, it's coming from a different power. That's shocking. Because maybe you're on the wrong team. Till now, you're connected to the good God. And now the bad God's in control. So maybe you become afraid. But a Yid who believes everything, a Yid who believes there's only one Eibishter. So the same Eibishter that was with you when you were building yeshivas in the Sakai and Good, or with the Malach, pointing, it doesn't change. The same Eibishter. What are you afraid about? You keep on doing what Eibishter wants you to do. And after that changes the massive, and the guy took the gun, he put it in the back of his drawer. That's what the Rebbe was telling him. You're trying to scare me. This kid can only scare somebody who believes in two gods. If you believe in a good God, it's a bad God. Why is something bad happening to you? Because there's another power in the world that's doing something to you. Then you become afraid. But when you believe there's only one Eibishter and only one power in the world, so even when something is happening that's not revealed good, you know it's only Eibishter. And you know the Eibishter told you to feel the Chazaifen. So you don't change. What changed there? Gon is pointing at you. That's only the sign. That's a seed to see if you really believe it's Eibishter. They won't get afraid. And this is what we see constantly. Things happen. Oh, the word Amaisa and Mela, we have to do. Well, relax a minute. Who's making this happen? This is the Maisa. We're seeing today. Whatever happened. You can't change what happens. One thing's for sure. Now that Baruch Hashem, there's a back. There is a loosening of the restrictions for people to say we have to be super frum and we have to maintain restrictions and all that stuff. Your whole time why you thought you could do it because time the might, but now you bring your cheshbenis to the time. It's your cheshbenis. The Abish is telling clearly. So why don't you bounce back and desire to have a minyan? Bounce back to desire to have a yeshiva and demand it. Hello? This whole notion, I'm not forget it. When you look at Torah Mitzvah, says this is our life, and this is our connection to the Abish.